Listen up, cats. It's spring cleanup season, which means you got to clean up your yard. And the one I'm talking about is on your face yard.
Yeah.
And you could do that with Manscaped.
You can.
Did you know that? Because you can clean up down there, but you can also clean up here with the Handyman Rocketman Special Edition from Manscaped. It's sleek, it's portable, and it's built for the on-the-go freshness you're looking for, and the perfect travel companion, especially if you want to go to, like, I don't know, San Jose. Jesse used it this morning.
He did.
Let's get
I legitimately used the Handyman to trim around my beard this morning. It's awesome.
Those are sharp edges, Jesse.
Yeah,
just clean.
I'm like okay at it. I got to get better. I don't know.
Wow.
It's very cool.
You know how you get to Carnegie Hall?
Practice.
Manscaped.
That's right. Just a quick PSA, though. There are limited quantities. So if you want the Handyman Rocketman, so you too can look exactly like Jesse.
I don't
Well, no,
know
you're not
about
exactly
that.
like Jesse. You need to act fast. Yeah, no. Use our code DANGLE to get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Again, it's DANGLE at manscaped.com. 20% off, free shipping. Let's start the show.
SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Hi, San Jose, California. We're going.
Where is that?
It's in San Jose.
I don't get it.
Oh.
I don't understand.
Oh.
You're just saying the names of places.
Well, I just thought that you guys might want to, we might want to talk about the fact that we're going to be there.
Yes.
And
I think it's really important.
That we got ITINs to go through. Like short for itinerary. ITINs. Let's go through the ITINs.
I don't think that's catching on.
So listen, we're gonna do shows.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do watch-alongs. Mm-hmm. We're gonna do games. Listen, the Leafs are gonna be there on March 27th. We will be there for that. And if you want to come hang out, you will need a ticket to the San Jose game.
We're following 3 Canadian games out of 4.
That's kind of true.
It's literally true.
Wow. How literally true.
The Leafs and Abbotsford twice.
That's cool. No, I like that. That's very, very cool.
And the Rangers.
So it's interesting, actually, because we're going to do a podcast on the Tuesday from Fireball Cove. Okay? We're going to have a couple CUDA players join us on that one. And then, of course, Wednesday, Barracuda watch party with us. And then Thursday, a meet and greet with us. And then Friday, watch a Steve Dangle podcast live and a meet and greet with us. And then, of course, Saturday, post-game interview with us on SDP.
Next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, if you are in the San Jose area, there are opportunities to hang out with us.
And if you're not, come over anyway.
The
Travel.
Barracuda watch party will be 6:30 to 9:30 at Tech CU Arena, Calder's Bar and Refuge. I hope that's fun. I hope that place is banging.
Of course it is. What? What? Of course it is. You've never been?
The meet and greet with SDPN is at the Sharks pregame. That's the SAP Center in the FJ room, south entrance across from the team store. That's 6 to 7. Mm-hmm. And then watch a Steve Dangle podcast live after Sharks practice. So we're at the SAP Center again, the lower bowl, 1 to 3 o'clock. You can watch us do that day's podcast. And then the meet and greet with SDPN us will be at the Barracuda game. So 2 different locations there that day. That's the Tech CU Center. Again, the 200 level, 216 to 217 landing. That's the area of the arena we'll be at. That's 6:30 to 7:15.
And hey, Steve, are you bringing any one of your children, your many children, so that SJ Sharkey can eat them?
No.
Okay, that's a shame.
He'll have to just imagine.
Okay, can he eat Jesse then? Can we have SJ Sharkey eat Jesse's head? Because
I think that'd be hilarious. I love mascots so much.
If he skips breakfast. I think
Jesse, can we dive deep on that? What is that?
I don't know. I've always had a little soft spot in my heart for mascots. I've always wanted to be a mascot, like for one day in my life. Just want to try out to be a mascot. My first love affair with mascots came at the Rogers Cup when I was a kid. We used to go every summer. It's a tennis tournament they held here in Toronto, and they had a mascot that had a giant tennis ball head, and he was just a giant tennis ball. He used to walk around. I used to love that kid.
That's like actually kind of cool.
Thing. Yeah.
Why did they get rid of him?
I don't know. I've always just loved mascots.
You know who
They're
else
the best thing ever.
loves mascots is my 4-year-old. Loves mascots. He loves Deke with the Oshawa Generals.
Yeah.
Loves Carlton.
Does he like Duke with the Marlies?
He has not been acquainted with Duke yet.
But Duke's a dog.
He does know Ace.
And he likes dogs.
I'm sure he'll get along famously with Duke.
Well, I remember being at a Marlies game, and Jesse was sitting beside me. It was one of our Marlies nights when we used to do that. And I just hear this, Duke!
Yeah.
Duke! And it was Jesse. And then he was like, dab on him, dab. And then he got Duke to dab, and it was good.
Back when that was...
That was,
Yeah,
it was cool
when
back
dabbing
then.
was cool. Yeah, so
You had to be
somebody
there
out
9 years ago.
If somebody out there from some sort of organization would let me wear their mascot costume for a day and let me be a mascot, I would love that. That's my dream, so I will do that.
Are there any mascots that are just like a tower or a giraffe? Or
It's like Seattle is your mascot, the Space Needle. I could be a good Space Needle.
Do you remember when Conan did all those shows way back in Toronto, and they had like a Toronto, like they had the CN Tower mascot? Yeah,
oh.
Conan did like 5 shows in
I do
Toronto.
remember that.
Yeah.
And they had a CN Tower that would run out on stage every single time. It was really funny. Really, really funny.
Devils fans might enjoy that because if I'm not mistaken, one of the Leafs that Conan got on the ice with was Tom Fitzgerald. Who's now the GM of the Devils.
I think the way I like mascots is the same way I like dogs, in that like that thing is just there for happiness and good times. Like a mascot is just simply there to provide joy to the people. Like that's its role in society. And I look at dogs the same way. It's just like that dog just wants to be loved. It just wants to be happy. So I think that's where the soft spot for mascots come in my heart.
I saw Carlton the other day. He was in Union Station. You know what he was doing? Helping kids play with Lego.
Amazing.
Just having a great time with his St. Pat's apparel. Just having a lovely day. And everyone around him was having a lovelier day for it.
Like you don't see a mascot and get sad. You see
No.
it and you see it and you get happy.
That is true.
Not true.
Not true?
Jesse, you grew up west of Toronto.
Yes.
Did you ever go to a Brampton Battalion game?
That scary
Sarge.
Sarge, he
Sarge
was
guy.
freaky, man.
Yeah.
Sarge is horrible. Sarge was a terrifying
Big old
man.
smile on him.
No.
What's the name of the Oilers mascot? I always forgot his name.
Oh, the cat that's
Hunter.
gonna-
I think.
Hunter. Yeah, Hunter is not like
Hunter's
the most
terrifying.
inviting mascot.
Hey, okay. Can you do me a favor? Can you Google San Jose Barracuda mascot? Because
Sure.
I want to introduce you to Frenzy.
His name is
Have you seen Frenzy?
Frenzy.
Frenzy?
Frenzy.
Well, no, I don't think so. I think they just frenzy,
Oh,
as in
I thought
feeding
they was
frenzy.
Frenzy?
No, feeding frenzy. Not like frenzy, like a bad
understand.
social media app from 20 years ago. It's honestly he's kind of terrifying. He's got big old teeth. Look at him.
Whoa.
Can you describe it for the people listening?
So Frenzy is a barracuda, but
looks like a
barracuda normally,
crocodile.
I don't think their teeth normally hang out of their mouth like this, but he kind of looks like a warthog mixed with a barracuda, and he's got a fin on his head. Yeah. Like if Pumbaa was extremely dangerous and gray looking.
if I'm Leo's age, I might be spooked.
Yeah, he's Frenzy's.
That's a tough one. He also looks a little bit like he was run over.
What? What do you mean?
Because of the tire mark.
No, those are part barracuda have that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I understand.
No, he'd run over you, Steve.
Listen,
we're going to his home. You're going to be
Yeah,
swimming in
better
his
be
ocean
nice.
real soon.
Well, don't show this to him. Guys, he lives underwater. Don't show it to him. If he sees it, I'll know it was you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's true.
no,
Anyway,
it's
we're
your
very
fault.
excited.
I also I didn't mention Maddie. If you want to give me a second, I'll pull it back up. We didn't finish our last event we'll have, which is the post-game interview with SDPN at the Calder's Bar and Refuge. That's 30 minutes after the game ends. So there you go. That's presented by 99 brand. We have a sponsor.
Hey,
That's kinda cool.
What's up, 99 brand? Thank you. Okay, listen, I want to talk about this. Producer Drew tweeted this out, and no, it's not a terrible food take, shockingly. It's scheduling, and it kind of goes in line with what Gary Bettman said this morning. And I'm going to talk just specifically about the scheduling part. Then we're going to talk about the Leafs game on Monday. Then we're going to talk about the rest of the Gary Bettman press conference. Okay?
How happy are you, Adam? I didn't even know Bettman had spoken until I got here.
And you know what? I don't even think he said anything that infuriating. So I think this is going to be we're going to sail through this.
If we're ranking boring GM meetings, this one might be at the top.
Yeah.
Like there was no news.
We love a boring GM meeting.
I don't.
I want drama.
Oh, I want everything.
I want Jeremy Jacobs in there yelling at them.
What I want,
That's the owner's meeting.
What I want as a fan really does fly in the face of what I want as a podcaster.
Yeah. Well,
A lot of the time.
Here's what we got scheduling wise. Because of Four Nations, 9 teams in the NHL will have 7 games. Have 7 games as of now left in March. Only 3 do it in 11 days. That's the Buffalo Sabres, 7 games in 11 nights. The Maple Leafs, 7 games in 11 nights, and the Kings, 7 games in 11 nights. From March 19th to the 31st. Here are the amounts of games that all of these teams have to play. So the Ducks have to play 5, Carolina 6, Boston 5, Buffalo, like I said, 7, Columbus 5. I'm going to roll through.
What's the least amount?
The least amount is 5, and that's Kraken, Sharks, Oilers, Jets, and Panthers, Capitals, Penguins, Blue Jackets, and I said Boston and Anaheim already. So
it's not like an egregious.
well, it's a lot.
It is. 2 games is significant in that amount of time, but like
7 and 11 is a lot.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is they better win.
You all play
'cause
82. I don't know.
Yeah,
From October to April, you all play 82 games.
yeah,
Remember when they went basically undefeated in November because they barely played?
yeah.
You had
All
your
right.
fun time. Yeah, figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. Like, and was anyone like, "Oh man, the only reason to leave"? Blah, all this.
Yeah, no,
rest.
some people were like that.
All right, great.
Wow, they were
well,
like that?
Bills
Blah?
come due. The Bills come due.
So yeah, you got to play the games. But Gary Bettman has announced today that the 25-26 NHL season will begin October 7th, which is just the Tuesday before Canadian Thanksgiving, for those wondering.
Woo.
Now, we have been pushing for at least an October 1st start for next year for a couple of reasons. One, we don't want the Stanley Cup awarded on the 28th of June. It's just weird. Like, enough. Can we just chill?
I've had it.
Let's start let's get it like a week earlier. 1 week makes all the difference, right? Because then you're going from Stanley Cup to like immediately players from that Stanley Cup team are getting traded to draft immediately to free agency immediately. Like the guys who win the cup are still hung over and then they're having to make free agency decisions.
Are they trying to stay hot? Like,
I think
that
they're trying
what
to
it
keep
is?
the news cycle up. But here's
That's what I'm saying.
Here's my issue with February next year. We have the Olympics.
Yeah.
That's great. We also have an All-Star game.
And the Olympics are longer than the Four Nation face-off.
Absolutely, they are.
Yep.
They're that's a full 2 weeks.
Yep.
And then we got the All-Star game before that, and I'm wondering who is going to the All-Star game it's on Rhode Island.
Hey, why doesn't the NHL bring back the Young Stars game? I don't know if that's what it used to be called, but like the NBA has that. Mm-hmm. Give the opportunity to a bunch of kids who will probably be interested.
Can you sell tickets in the local market if Sidney Crosby's not showing up? By the way, he probably won't anyway.
Where is the All-Star game?
It's
Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Oh, Brooklyn. Sorry.
It's on
Well,
the
no, sorry, the
not
island.
Brooklyn. It's on the
They're
island.
not- I keep forgetting they're not. In
They're not Brooklyn
It's been
anymore.
Quite a few years.
No, it's at UBS.
Yeah,
UBS
Arena.
Islanders might have a couple young guys. When does Cole Eisenman finish school? And who's the other?
Hey,
guy
you know what? Hey, Steve, you know what's cool about that idea? There's the CHL Top Prospects game a couple months earlier.
So
Yeah, but it ain't there.
I think the answer here is just don't do the fucking All-Star game.
So Frank
Yeah,
Saravalli
but they are.
tweeted that Bettman says the NHL is reevaluating the 2026 All-Star Game format in New York because they've raised the bar with what an All-Star weekend might look like as a result of success at Four Nations. For clarity, everything remains on the table, including potentially doing something entirely different. So I think they're going to land on we can't do a traditional All-Star game at all because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
But that's just my
and here's the cool thing is that's not that is not enough time to turn anything relevant around. Like you're not going to do a nation's face-off preceding the Olympics. You could do your all-rookie game, but it means that all the stars aren't going to be there. So how well does it sell? What else could you do? An all goalies? Could you have all goalies?
I think it'll be maybe just like an all skills competition. Like they'll do the skills night, and then maybe it's like because they have the 3-on-3 thing they did last time in Toronto.
Yep.
Maybe it's a 3-on-3 game as well the next day. You know, simple 3-on-3 game. Day before skills competition, boom, everybody go to the Olympics. But they don't include anybody who's going to the Olympics.
So this is the thing. So I was thinking about that, and I'm like, there are going to be so many Canadians at this All-Star game because, Finland is going to take all of their NHL players. Sweden takes most of their NHL players.
Oh, you mean
like,
players?
There are not going to be a lot of like other nationalities here
Yeah.
if they're getting ready for the Olympics. It's going to be mostly Canadian and American players, which isn't, I guess, bad. But it's sort of like the kind of the B level All-Star is what we can mostly hope for, which is fine, I guess, as a warm up.
No, it's not. Like because
And the Islanders fans are getting screwed again.
well, yeah,
I mean, poor guys.
Jeez, but no, the bar's been raised. Like, I thank you for acknowledging it. We're really gonna go from Four Nation face-off back to the same bullshit we've been doing.
Yeah.
Hell no. And I love that. I actually love that. Now, ask me what I would do instead. I don't know.
I would
cancel it, I guess.
I
but
wouldn't have it. Like, I think on years where there's an Olympics or years where you want to host your World Cup, you don't do the All-Star game. That's what it should
I
be.
agree.
It doesn't really make
hell?
sense. Like, I don't know why they got a shoehorn.
Unless it is a hugely profitable event for the NHL, which I don't know that it is.
it's an important
it's a
event
local
for
thing.
sponsors. It's a very important event for locals.
And New York's a big deal.
So I guess they really want to host it, but you didn't do one this year. Everything turned out fine.
You lived.
You can sacrifice it once every, I think, 2 out of 4 years, you know, because the Olympics and World Cup. 2 out of 4 years, you don't host it. You'll be fine. You'll
and
survive.
You create international stars at the Olympics, and you get to reap the rewards of that once you return to playing games. Like, I think the dumb thing about the last 11 years is the NHL has wanted like direct money in hand benefit out of the Olympics, and that's just not how it works.
Here's what Wyshynski said, and by the way, he's backing you up. He's backing
yeah?
you up, Steven, on both points.
Oh,
He said, "Here, let me help. 2026 NHL All-Star Weekend, Day 1. Under 23 future stars, 3-on-3 All-Star game.
no, Steve, it sounds like the top prospects.
Day 2, nation-based NHL skills competition where all the players wear their national team jerseys, and it's a bon voyage to the Olympics."
Thank you.
Would you guys watch that?
Hell yeah.
Yeah? Jesse, thoughts?
It's my job, so I have to.
Yeah, but would you be, if you were, okay, would you watch it and be excited about it? Are you like, I'm excited to spend my
No,
time on
They're
it?
not going to try.
Oh, it's the under 23s.
No, it's the skills competition the next day. I think Jesse's talking about like, Kucherov, definitely going to give it his all.
That was one asshole spoiling it.
The rest of that skills comp was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it was, but it was one asshole.
I thought
who's a winner and a really good player,
And kind of an asshole on the
but
other.
an asshole.
That's a
A lot of
compliment.
assholes win hockey games.
Yeah.
It's kind of built into the sport, but he was being an asshole about it.
I thought we all discovered after Four Nations that the All-Star format is played out, and we need something better. And I don't know why we're trying to go back to something when we discovered that it doesn't work anymore.
Yes.
So let's do something. Let's do the better thing consistently every single time. If you want to have it on off years where you have nothing, go ahead, host your All-Star convention for your sponsors. But on years where there's the Olympics or you're hosting your World Cup, just do that.
Yes.
You just buy back the All-Star game from Brooklyn. Be like, here's some money.
Yeah, just give it to them the next following year. Like they have, Gary Bettman has ultimate power.
That's World Cup year, though, isn't it? No, it's
No,
not.
the next year you want to host an All-Star game, the Islanders get it.
That's a 27.
Isn't
Give
the,
it to them then.
Yeah.
Isn't the format very obvious to anybody? It's Olympics, All-Star game, World Cup, All-Star game, Olympics, World Cup. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Why are we overcomplicating this?
Well,
What's
and it
that?
makes the All-Star game matter a little bit more because it only comes around every 2
Yes.
It's special.
Yeah.
How about that?
Why are we overcomplicating this? I don't understand.
Now, I'm going to leave the rest of Bettman's press conference there for now.
Oh.
You got it.
We're going to come back to it because it's important. But I mean, listen, this is by the time you've heard this all this news will be out there. We're merely here to break it down. But I do want to talk a little bit about the Toronto Maple Leafs because they're the top of everyone's minds. Everyone
Always.
across the entire
Always.
NHL.
You're hearing it more and more.
People are saying.
People are saying.
I think we got to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs winning this game on Monday. You know, we were in there. We had a chat, and by the way, John Forslund from Amazon Amazon Prime Monday Night Hockey is going to join us later on in the show. We recorded an interview with him.
I was flustered.
You were flustered. You had a little crush, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a crush. I was flustered.
He was. By the way, this interview, of the things I've done in my career, this is one of the ones I'm proudest of. I think it was really, really fun. Maddie's shaking her head yes, so that means that she actually liked it too. But we got to go down there. We got to record an episode. We got to interview John. And one of the other things we got to do was run into Mark Masters.
Yeah.
Masters Nation. And he did say to us, Mark's such a smart guy. Mark, he's like, listen, they don't win this game. There's probably going to be some alarm bells.
Oh, he was going through potential Leaf topics like friggin' Doctor Strange. he had everything. If this and then this and then this and then this, and he's looking throughout the lineup. Like, that guy's dialed.
He's brilliant.
Dialed into what's going on. But, like, yeah, that would have been a 10-alarm friggin' fire if the Leafs lose to Calgary. A game that they ought to win. They're on the road. A long road trip. You're at home. You need the win very badly. Your lineup is deeper than theirs. You're only going to lose this game if you're playing your best, if you get goalied to oblivion.
And by the way, I would say that the goalie for Calgary was their best player in the game despite only playing 40 minutes.
And getting, friggin' pulled. It was him or Kadri. Like, they're just not a deep team.
They're not, and they can't score a lot, as Jesse pointed out last week when we were fawning over Dustin Wolf.
They're one player team.
That's right. But you know what? It's an important player.
It's pretty important.
Pretty key position.
I was laughing watching the Amazon Prime because they just show the warm-ups.
Yeah.
And Wolf is like taking shots on his own net, going bar down. And I'm like, you know what? You don't even need to like throw someone on for the extra attacker.
No.
Just have him go up to the offensive blue line and have him work the point. He might even get you a goal.
I want to start with a player that you've been hard on, Steve, and I think in a lot of cases rightfully so this season.
Yep.
And that you pointed out in your LFR was somebody that you're like, man, this is great. And Berube pointed this out too. He said Max Domi's game has gone to another level.
Hell yes, it has.
He's way more aggressive. He's being the player we want him to be, and he's in people's faces. He's disrupting things. He's using his speed, and he's a playmaker. The guy can pass the puck. Jesse and Steve, I want to talk to you. Well, actually, Jesse, I want to talk to you about the Max Domi setup to Nick Robertson and what it was like in person. Because that, if you guys remember, this is a pass from the corner where Max takes a really odd route because it's not an easy route to the puck, gets the puck, is able to saucer pass it over two sticks and right onto Nick Robertson's stick, and bang, it's in the net.
Yeah, like that's what we always talk about with Max is his passing. Like, and there's a guy who's, you described it well, behind the net, and kudos to Nick Robertson for going to the right area. Like that's what we're always asking out of our players, like go to the net, go to the empty space in front of the net, and he's able to find that hole in the middle of the Calgary defense, and those three guys just standing around. He slides in there, and Max finds him because Max is always looking for the opportunity to set up his teammates, and it was a great play. And Max was in a great spot where he was ahead of the final defender there, if I'm remembering correctly, to win that puck, to win that battle down the ice, to get to that puck behind the net. Like, he was in a great position initially on the breakout. OEL sent the puck down, he got it, and then he turns around, he fires it, and he finds Nick Robertson in that empty space. Like, that's what's special about Max Domi is the passing ability, and I think on that play you see it right there.
First on the puck, which is what I was begging for, right? He's first on the puck. And, like, Calgary, they seem so lackadaisical on the play, but I think, and, like, part of the reason Robertson was left open is we all know Domi's passing that puck. He goes there, he takes his time, and the Flames are like, yeah, go ahead. That's a turnover. Like, they're looking at it like that's a pending turnover, and we want that because we would like the puck. We'll advance it and try to do something with it. But he's so good at it that he found his way through. Like, look at how many. Jesse's got the NHL Edge thing up. The traffic that he has to pass this puck through. Sauce as well. It had to go over sticks. I don't know who 94 and 10 are. 94 is Pakal. I forget who 10 is. But both of those guys, one of them's going to get it, right? Surely. I mean, okay.
Huberdeau.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I changed my mind. Someone should have picked up Robertson. That's unacceptable.
Yeah,
What?
no, that
Probably
I think
Pakal.
It's Nick Robertson really going to the right area, sneaking in behind the defense and nobody catching him on that play. It's a beautiful little play by everybody on the ice there. That's what I was talking about. Domi there, where he's escaping early. You'll see him number 11 exiting, and Calgary is going for their change, and Domi's like, I'm gonna get on my horse.
Yep.
I'm gonna get the puck down the ice. OEL missed the pass, and it's going all the way down. I'm gonna win this battle. And the hustle out of Domi lately, like, if he can continue playing at this level, the Leafs might have something lower down the lineup, which we didn't think they would have based on his play from games from October through probably the beginning of March.
Yeah.
If we're being honest. But lately, very lately, he's playing really good hockey.
And that's a good sign because you want to get hot right before the playoffs.
And he was
Yes.
up the middle, which I think is important. He was playing great on the wing, and I'm like, well, yeah. That's where he's pretty consistently looked great for this team. Then they went back to him up the middle, and I was just like, oh, Craig is button mashing. He is just trying stuff out there.
And this goal
And
comes on the goal.
it's awesome.
This goal comes on the Max Domi goal, which opened it.
That's right. On a slap shot.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Well, remember Jesse was sending through videos of Max practicing his slap
That's
shot.
him working on it, baby.
And baby, he scored.
That's him working on it. No, listen, I've been hard on him because expectations have been high. Like, not every Leaf fan loved the extension he got because they're like, oh, that's a lot of money for a guy who didn't really score last year. He's got big defensive deficiencies. Don't know if he can really play up the middle. We all know the things that we like about him, but I don't know. 3 years is kind of a big commitment. 3.75. I don't know. I was totally fine with it.
Yeah.
Because he was good enough. And it's like, dude, that was a top line player in the playoffs. Didn't look out of place. And like, this is what we signed up for. This player who's going to throw the occasional real nice hit on Carter Verhaeghe. Going to have the occasional fight and maybe even beat the Schmidt out of Nate. He's just Nate now. And set up sick plays like this one with Robertson. He's going to chip in an occasional goal, for God's sake. Maybe even hit double digits. Oh, my goodness. This is a good player.
Yeah, the game before this, he was an assist away from a Gordie Howe hat trick, and then this game, he's a fight away from a Gordie Howe hat trick. So, like, he's doing all the things that we want out of Max Domi, and it's pretty cool.
4 points in 5 games, not bad for your depth. And this was something that we talked about Monday. They put together the McMahon, Robertson, Domi line. All 3 of them scored.
Yeah.
Now, it's key to remember here that these 3 can score goals, but the issue is always, can they also allow them? And the answer is yes. And too many of them. And that's why they were broken up. Yeah. However, this was a great confidence game.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll talk about Austin and confidence as well,
Basically
too.
everybody.
But now I think the test is tonight against Colorado. How do you stand up against? And listen, Calgary could be a playoff team, but we all know there's a pretty big difference between Calgary and Colorado, right? And we played Colorado a week and a half ago, and it was a high-scoring game, and it was too high-scoring and not all that great for the Leafs when they were letting in goals. I think that they were a little discombobulated after the trade deadline. I think they were a little tired. I think there's all those factors play into it. They still lost the game. This line against a playoff team, especially a dominant one, and by the way, Colorado's completely remade themselves this year. What do you need to see from McMahon, Domi, Robertson
Yeah.
for this line to stick it out, not just here, but in the playoffs?
I want to give a shout out to my friend Nick LaFlame on Twitter, who is basically, he goes, this is the McMahon, Domi, Robertson line on a random weekday against a mid team, and it's just a gif of LeBron and Dwayne Wade highlights.
They were amazing.
Because, dude, they cut those teams up. You can't get hemmed in. I don't want to see any of your deficiencies, basically. Like, if you aren't able to pull off the special things you did against Calgary, okay, I get it. You know, I assume Makar and Taves aren't going to allow those sauce passes. I assume they're not going to allow Nick Robertson alone in front. I assume they're not going to allow that McMahon goal that I'm real glad for him that he scored it, but that shouldn't have gone in, right? You can't get hemmed in. The Avalanche beat the Leafs a couple Saturdays ago because they completely overwhelmed the Leafs when they needed offense. There's a few teams in the league that have, I'm going to call them first 40 deficiencies, where they could find themselves down after 40 because either their goaltending's not sharp that night or the defense isn't sharp that night. Avs fans aren't going to want to hear this, but like, there's a lot of similarities between them and the Oilers at times. But when they're cheating for offense,
Yikes.
oh shit. Like, you're in trouble. So the Leafs, that line in particular, but all of them, can't get overwhelmed. I look at that line, and that's not the line I'm concerned with, because I actually like the idea of rolling 4 lines for depth. The lost in the narrative of that game, because all 3 of McMahon, Domi, and Robertson scored, is they were the 4th line.
Oh, well, listed as the 4th line.
No, they buy time on ice. They were the 4th line. Lorentz played more than, I think Steven Lorentz played more than Domi. I mean, the Leafs were up big, so maybe that makes sense. Lawton played a couple more minutes than either of those guys, and so did Yarncroke, right? I like the idea of rolling that depth, because I would put that depth up against most teams in this league.
So there's an identity to both of these lines, right? One stops, one scores.
Yes. Coming out of the deadline, they throw out that 4th line of Holmberg, Kampf, and Lorentz. I'm like, this isn't anything. What do they do? Do they forecheck particularly good? Not really. Can they score? No. Are they defensive? Kinda. Do they check? Not really. They weren't anything, right? This, Lawton on the quote-unquote 4th line is making a lot of people laugh. Like, no, it's a line with identity. The matchup I'm looking for, the Leafs for a long time this season have played pretty good hockey, and they've done it without a guy who scored 69 goals for them last year. Mm-hmm. Even when he's been in the lineup, he hasn't been in the lineup. Like Matthews, his 2-goal game against Calgary was his, I think the stat was, it was his 3rd multi-goal game of the season. Last season, he had 19.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had 19.
But let's keep it to the depth for now.
Well, because
okay,
sure. Go
we
ahead.
haven't even talked about you haven't even told us who is on that 3rd line, right? It's
so that's Lawton, Yarncroke, Lorentz, thank you.
Right.
I'm not used to him.
and that's why that's why I wanted to make sure we hit that, because yes, we have to go to Austin for sure.
That's a fast, hard-nosed, forechecking line, and that's the only line that didn't really have anything fall for them in that game against Calgary. But maybe that's all okay,
Because that's not their identity.
Well, you either need to exhaust your opponent or have nothing happen, especially in a 6-2 game.
And with Kampf, Holmberg, Lorentz, you're guaranteed nothing will happen.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
a guarantee.
That era of the Leafs is over. We're all right, throw out the busy nothing line. And like, didn't they used to have a line of, I think it was like Engvall, Kerfoot, Mikheyev, it might have been.
Probably.
This is busy nothing. Breakneck speed nothing. You've never seen so much nothing.
It's tall and it's long and it's nothing.
And it's tall, it's long, it's nothing. Isolate that clip.
A lot of abs though.
A lot of abs. They're
now,
in such good shape.
So Jesse and Steve, this is my question, and this is why I wanted to hold off on Matthews. I wanted to get to this point.
Sure.
Because the McMahon, Domi, Robertson line, score, please don't get hemmed in. Are you comfortable, and I'm going to say this for Colorado tonight, but then I'll take it and I'll apply it to Tampa, I'll apply it to Ottawa, I'll apply it to Montreal, who are now in a playoff spot, and I'll apply it to Tampa and Florida. Can't forget about them. Are you comfortable throwing Lorentz, Lawton, and Yarncroke out against Nathan McKinnon's line?
Yeah. I mean, that is...
Because if they're going to be a shutdown line in the playoffs, and those guys, like it's like what the 3rd line was in Tampa with Coleman and Goudreau and... what was it? Who was it? It was Yanni Gord.
Oh, Gord in the middle.
Blake
of
Coleman
and Goudreau. Yeah,
that was a crazy line. Shut him down. Jesse, thoughts?
I don't think that's exactly what you're looking for that line to do with this team.
Okay.
Because I think that's why you have the core 4. Like, I feel like those players exist on this team to go up against those big matchups. Eventually, you're going to get some sort of mismatch where you have to play against them. It's the NHL. Like, If that's why you got Lawton, because he's competent enough to be out there with any player in the league, and everybody can be out there. But like you have Austin Matthews for a reason. He should be on the ice when they
and Marner.
And Mitch Marner's the key to the whole thing. The guy who plays in every facet of this game, who's probably your best defensive forward on the whole team. Like you have Mitch Marner, you have Austin Matthews to go up against the Nathan McKinnons of the world.
Right.
And it's kind of interesting because Colorado's got Makar Taves, who are probably going to be out there at the same time as the McKinnon line. So I want Tanev McCabe in the Matthews line going out there against them all night. And if you can neutralize that, which Marner and Matthews are very capable of doing, so is that D pair. Nyes just has to not, throw a pizza up the middle like he did, I think it was last game. Or maybe it was Florida. I don't remember. Doesn't matter.
Red team.
I'll take the Leafs bottom 9 against almost any bottom 9 in the league, especially at home.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, Dallas's bottom 9 might be better.
Bottom 9. Well, okay, almost
the
any other
Monstars.
team.
The Monstars.
Almost any other team.
Bottom 9.
No, but have a look at Colorado's bottom 9.
You said any team in the league.
Well, this team, the one they're playing tonight.
Okay. I think that's a different conversation.
I think
The Tavares line, the Fun McWee line. I don't know what you want to call it.
Fun McWee line.
Fun McWee line. The pew 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 line, and then the Lawton line.
Right.
Colorado's problem all season long has been depth.
Yep.
No, throw the big boys out against the big boys.
They did acquire a lot of depth over the course of the season.
They
do have
Coyle.
Brock Nelson. They do have Coyle. They do have Drury on their quote fourth line.
That's so crazy.
They
got
remade
3
their entire
centers.
damn
Yeah.
roster.
Man, we waited a whole year to get a center. They got 3 of them.
Yeah, like we can't just say that Colorado has nothing anymore. You're
right.
No, they're garbage.
You're right.
They
You're
do
right.
have quite a few forwards, but I understand what you're saying about you got to trust the bottom forwards on the Leafs to go up against.
God,
Can I also say
they might win the cup?
I freaking hate Ross
right?
Colton. I hate
my God.
Ross Colton is always so good against the Leafs too.
He's
just nightmare.
Stanley Cup winning goal scorer Ross Colton.
Okay, so that brings us to the top. We've been talking about the bottom 9. Let's talk about the top 3. Let's talk about confidence for goal scorers, and Matthews gets 2, and this time they're actually on the goalie. It's not a goalie mishandling the puck and giving it to him.
Yes.
It is 2 goals, and it's
now
funny.
it's 3 goals in 2 games.
The power play goal that he scored, the first one, I had been yelling shoot like 40 times, and you could tell, and I think everybody else was, you can tell that in different eras of Matthews' career, he would have shot earlier.
Yes.
And it's been weighing on him, but that time he was able to fire one absolutely, it was beautiful, right to the top of the net and score.
Sometimes you need anything to go in, like McMahon getting that goal, like, okay, whatever, it's a goal. Good for you.
Yep.
And I'm sure he feels good about it. Matthews, I feel like, had a great performance rewarded. He didn't get anything in the first period, but I was watching him like, okay, we haven't seen this version of him in a while.
Yep.
This is the best he's looked. And as an individual, some nights, him and Nyes are clicking, him and Marner are clicking, they're clicking as a trio, whatever. He looked so good and so dialed individually. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what that is. Like, maybe it's a determination. Maybe he's pissed off, like Craig Berube said the team was. But it wasn't just that he was finding the open areas, because he has kind of been. It's just, it used to be last year, anytime Matthews got the puck, you're like, this is going in. And you were very often right.
Yeah.
Because he had that touch of death. Scoring those 2 goals against Justin Wolfe, who's one of the best goalies in the league, that's got to feel good. And Matthews style goals.
And it's interesting because Berube said before the game, it weighs on everybody. A player that he wants to help the team by putting the puck in the net. He's doing a lot of good things. We just have to stick with it. It's just not going in as much this year, but his overall game for me, I go off of last game. He did a great job against Barkov, who's one of the best in the league. And this is obviously before the Sens game, but and then after this game, he says, that's your leader, right? Led the way with effort, competitiveness, and just work.
I need to watch tonight's game and go, holy shit, Austin Matthews. The way every time the Leafs play Colorado or anyone plays Colorado, I go, holy shit, Nathan McKinnon. We have had this contentious conversation. I don't remember when I said it. I just remember it was very unpopular. Is you look at Matthews and you look at McKinnon and you realize there is a difference. Now it's stylistic. McKinnon can't do some of the things Matthews does. Matthews can't do some of the things McKinnon does. I need to see Matthews outperform Nathan McKinnon at home after a big performance when his team needs it. They beat you last time. I need Matthews to be the better player.
And you're going to have the line matching to your advantage.
He's capable of it. You have the line matching. They're a deep team. You're a deep team. You can do it. You can do it. If you belong in this conversation, this has to happen on occasion.
Jesse, when you look at those goals going in, was there a sense of like, I wondered if there was a reaction in the press box to it too? Because you were there.
Yeah,
They were cheering, right?
Yeah, because they're like
Hooray!
None of that stuff. I think that's why they don't give you the media pass.
Yeah, we honestly it was really hard for us. Like we were with the Leafs.
Who is us?
You and me.
Adam Wild.
We had a hard time together. It was the two of us. What?
Act like you've been there.
We sat in the press
I've been
box
up
for the
there.
San Jose Leafs game here a couple weeks ago, for the the Amazon Prime night we were on, and I definitely cheered in the press box and then caught myself. I can't. You get wrapped up in
you
it.
caught yourself?
Yeah.
Adam, I slapped you.
And then I caught myself.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, Jesse.
I went, Adam.
Shut up.
I gave him one. Stop it. Right?
Steve, I'd like to see you in a moment where it's like they're on a 4-game losing streak. Nick Robertson fumbles the puck. Turnover. Then what are you going to do? San Jose on a Monday is a little different.
It's extremely, extremely loud silence. You feel it from me. You feel, yeah.
Because the people watch the games on stream. You stream every Saturday, and they see you.
I feel the eyes.
They see you. So
I feel the eyes.
if you're in that press box, I don't know if you could hold it together.
You know who I was jealous of for that Sharks game? Because we were sitting right underneath the Sharks broadcast booth.
Yeah.
And you everyone in the press box is quiet press box. And you hear like, hey! And I look up and he's not doing play-by-play. He's doing color commentary. You look up and it's Jason Demers.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, like fist pumping, going, yeah. Like, I know they don't have a camera trained on him or whatever, but he got to cheer.
After the game on Monday with Austin Matthews and the way he performed, that was the narrative that I think everybody was going into the post game and talking about. It was, okay, the captain stepped up after all morning at morning skate. We talked about how pissed off this team was and who's the leader on this team. It's Austin Matthews now this season, and he showed up, and those 2 goals he had, I think, were really important just for the narrative, one, and for the ethos of the team to be like, hey, we got the performance out of the big guy. He showed up and he did his thing. So I think it's really important that they got that performance out of him, because you don't want that conversation to continue. Even if they won that same way 6-2 against Calgary, but Austin did nothing that game, it'll be a little bit different because like we expect that kind of stuff out of Willie because he's so consistent the whole way. If you don't get that at JT, you're like, okay, he's not going to always perform at that level. But Austin, you expect it in a game where they're scoring a bunch of goals. You expect this guy to get in on that action, and he did, and thank goodness he did, and we're all thankful that he did.
Does quote unquote stacking the lines actually make Austin's life harder? I think it does.
In what way?
Because the Leafs are just straight up an easier team to play when they do it, because they don't have. There are a lot of nights where the bottom 6. I don't want to say okay. The first place my brain went was might as well be contest winners, and I'm like, Steve, that's not kind.
No.
But what are they? What are they? Defensive specialists? Are they defensive specialists, or are they just guys who can't score?
You're talking.
There's a difference.
Nights when Robertson, McMahon, and Domi look like the early season version of themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. But like not even them. Like whoever the fourth line has been this season.
When it's Comp and Reeves.
Yeah. Like Lorentz, Lawton, and Yarncroke. That's the first time those 3 have ever played together in their entire lives. Right. And I just look at that lineup and I'm like, It's actually kind of interesting because it's just their regular top 9 from most of the season, except the bottom 6 doesn't look useless. Even though the third line got 3 goals, they were really the fourth line and they were used completely differently. And then the fourth line was different. And like, you just have to prepare for the Leafs so much differently. Like, I think you head into a game like this if you're Colorado and you're like, if you're Kale and you're Devon and you're like, all right, well, I know what my job is. Like, this isn't complicated.
I don't think I'm ever going to stray off the idea that you have to give Marner and Matthews and Willie and JT separate lines, and you probably pair up Tavares and Marner, but I think splitting them up is always going to be the best idea, and they've never given it a long run in this entire era that they've been on the team together, so we're never going to see it, and it's just beating my head against a wall the more
since they started it.
Since they started it,
Right?
yeah.
They wouldn't do it, and now they will not stray from it.
Saturday to Monday was another example. I was going to say the greatest example of that, but we've had that example a million times now. So it's just another one to add to the list of they did it one game, they didn't like it, they went back to it, and they have to play them together. And I don't know where you go with that conversation anymore, because whoever the coach is, whether it's Babcock, Keefe, or Berube, Matthews and Marner are going to want to play together, and they're going to get their way.
Babcock was the only one who said no. Because remember, it was Nylander Matthews.
Yes.
For years.
And Hyman.
And Hyman. And then it was Marner Tavares.
Sick.
Yeah.
Sick. Well, and then it was Marner Tavares Hyman.
Yeah.
It used to be the top line is whatever line Hyman is on.
Yes.
It's true.
It's true.
And that is still literally the case, and he's on another team.
Okay, so a little trivia. See if you guys can guess this. Okay, optional skate this morning. Craig Berube said it's because of a busy schedule. They play in New York tomorrow, right? So they got Colorado, New York.
It's gonna be a quick post game tonight.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. 3 players got on the ice and did work. So these are the 3 scratches.
Oh dear.
Okay, one of them is the goalie. So I only get to
because it's Wool today.
Yeah, so Stollers is one of them. So I'm going to give you that. Who are the other 2 players that one I think will not surprise you, one I think will surprise you that they're not playing?
Kampf
is not playing.
Again.
And people have been calling for this guy to get back in the lineup.
So, okay, well, I already know it's off the board.
Jesse?
Wait, so am I guessing the person who got into the lineup or the person who got scratched?
Person who got scratched, and they're not in the lineup.
Benoit.
Well,
that was my guess.
So I worded that incorrectly. It is Myers that is out there and still scratched.
Suck.
Well, I meant to. I thought I said it the right way, but I guess I got you both. So
you
I
said
apologize.
it the right way.
So Myers is scratched.
So yeah, Benoit's still in the lineup. Yeah.
And I wanted to ask about that last thing, and then we'll sort of wrap on the Leafs because Myers not being in and OEL playing with Benoit has had some criticism. They look good against Calgary. Calgary's awful offensively. But Benny does get in there and not let you do things.
Sure.
Why do you think Benoit is playing more than Myers at this point, guys? And do you think Myers OEL would be better? Doesn't mean OEL has his flip sides.
So I'm listening to the audiobook of Justin Bourne, Justin Bourne's audiobook. I forget what it's called.
Okay.
But I'm listening to it right now and I'm enjoying it very much. It's Justin Bourne's audiobook. And he was talking about
Down and Back on Alcohol, Family, and Life in Hockey.
There it is.
There you go.
It's an excellent book so far. I'm a little over halfway through. He talked about
it could take a turn.
He talked. Yeah, you know what? It might be bad.
He might even be.
It might end up being bad, but
Damn.
very good so far.
So far.
Yeah. He talked about going to an NHL camp.
Yep.
As an undrafted, I want to say like 24-year-old trying to impress. And he said something along the lines of the established players, or the players who are looking to make the lineup have to prove that they can. The established players have to prove that they can't. That's the difference. Myers hasn't established himself enough that Benoit's and Benoit's performances have not been poor enough for them to make that switch. I still think, like, you know, if the team is as tired as they keep saying they are, hell, give OEL the Rangers game off. He's the old guy. Or give one of them the night off against the Rangers and have Myers get in there. As frustrating as OEL has been at times, and as frustrating as Benoit has been at times, Myers hasn't exactly taken the bull by the horns. So I'm not overly bullish on that. I'm still sticking to my conspiracy theory. Yanni Hakanpää is going to play in these playoffs.
Jesse, what do you think about what Steve just said?
I wonder if OEL is really comfy on the right side. Now, he's a left shot.
No, he's not.
You don't think so? Because I think he looks decent out there when he's playing on his opposite hand.
He can do it. He can do it for sure, but I still think the best way for any defenseman to do it is to have a righty on the right, lefty on the left. At the offensive blue line, it makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm. So, but is the talent discrepancy between Myers and Benoit enough to shift OEL back over? Because right now they feel like having Benoit out there is more worth having OEL on his correct side.
See, I'd rather... Stylistically, I think Myers is closer to OEL than Benoit. Benoit, like in terms of talent, who's the more talented player? Myers. He's more talented than Benoit. Benoit's not out there for his talent. He's out there for his effort and grit and his FU and he'll do those things.
So by having Myers out there, you're just repeating the same skills, and you don't really need that.
Yeah, like I guess you're just sort of changing the identity of the third pair. Like you could go with OEL Myers and be like, all right, you're a puck moving third pair that is also
I don't think they want that.
Kind of big. No, I don't think they do. Like I don't think they're good enough on the defensive end, and that's not really what you want. It's of all the things with this roster just on paper that I'm dissatisfied with coming out of the trade deadline, I'm probably most dissatisfied with that. That, and I'm still not totally sold on Holmberg being on the second friggin' line. Mm-hmm. But that is way more easily rectified than this.
Pacioretty exists.
Pacioretty does exist.
Yeah. And he'll probably come back for game
How
one
much
of
to
the
tell
playoffs.
them?
Yeah. Well, he's injured. So.
Yeah.
Well, are they going to have him play game one of the playoffs after not playing for like 2 months?
I think he'll be fine. If that's the way they want to go, Pacioretty's a vet enough that I think he's in a position where he could hop in game one of the playoffs.
He's an option.
He needs to watch the Leafs like first round suspension curse though, because he throws big hits.
Oh,
and,
easily.
And Kadri and Kyle Clifford would like a word. Like Kyle Clifford got suspended for a game or two for a very normal hit.
And it was a 5-minute major in the first period. It was essentially a 3-game suspension.
Yeah. Not that Kyle Clifford listen, I like Kyle Clifford the person. Didn't add a ton to the lineup, but I will say that was really, really like the NHL watches the Leafs that way. They really do.
It was the longest suspension in the NHL those playoffs until Evander Kane broke Nazem Kadri's thumb. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, quick couple of things. The Leafs PR tweeted this out. With an assist on Austin Matthews' power play goal at 15:41 of the second period, William Nylander, with 598 career points, has passed Frank Mahovlich, one of the greatest Leafs of all time, for sole possession of 9th in Maple Leafs all-time points. We're getting to the point here where these three guys, Marner, Matthews, Nylander, are doing in one era what it took the Leafs 7 or 8 eras to string together as an organization. The lack of star talent in Maple Leafs history is painful. And when they are here, they don't last here, right?
No.
There are several guys that did, Sittler, Sundin, that sort of thing. But guys like Gilmore, 5 years, right?
But even Sittler had a dissatisfying end to his Leaf tenure.
Yes.
Sundin had a dissatisfying end to his Leafs tenure. Like, can we... what the Leafs lack in their history is a happily ever after.
Well, and what I want to say on that is if these two guys, or if these three guys win something,
Yeah.
if they win something, it will be such a shame if they don't. I'm not even talking about a cup. I'm talking about get to the conference finals once.
Gilmore has a jersey in the rafters. I need you to Gilmore
Back-to-back conference finals, though.
back-to-back
Back-to-back
conference finals.
Mm-hmm. Big goal against St. Louis in overtime.
Back-to-back conference finals and a Selke.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
did Sundin even win an award? Like a Lady Bing?
The King Clancy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm not taking away from Matt's.
I don't even know if he got nominated.
He got to 3 conference finals, Matt Sundin. But like that's what
Was
we're
he part
talking
of
about.
94? Yeah.
Yeah. No, he wasn't part of 94. He did
99,
the
02.
Yeah, the Cujo, and then was there not a Belfort conference? No, maybe not.
No.
I think maybe it was 94. Yeah, because
I don't
Wendell
know.
Clark was
I
traded.
don't remember.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Anyway.
Does Austin already have his jersey in the rafters?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they all do.
You think Marner and Willie
Based
do
on
as
the
well?
curve that we have, yes. I mean, if Willie's passing Frank Mahovlich, yes.
I think Austin for sure because of the individual trophies. Like I think that's
Hard trophy,
he's
multi-time Rocket. Yeah,
He's already locked
Rookie.
it in with the Calder and everything in there.
You gotta-
Marner and Willie, I'm not so sure yet. I think they would need to accomplish Marner maybe because of where he's ranking on the points list all time.
If you're top 10 in points, you should probably be on there, don't you think?
I don't know. It's a pretty low bar. Maybe you need
The Leafs have a pretty fucking low bar, man.
This is
the Leafs.
maybe raise
for
it.
their legacy. Like, listen. Their regular season legacies are viewed unfairly because of their playoff legacies.
Yes.
We talked about this the other day. There was the comparison that someone made. It was Matthews and Marner versus Marleau and Thornton. And Thornton and Marleau are looked at as these, bums who never won. And Thornton had that one really terrible quote from the
Amazon documentary
old
with
Amazon
the Leafs.
documentary. Oh, we're in first place, like we're doing something right. Blah. They went to double-digit playoff games in the same playoff run 9 times each. Tavares, Marner, Nylander, Matthews have done it 5 times combined. And Thornton won 16 playoff series. Marleau won 14. These guys are not...
Those two came between... they were within 2 wins of a cup.
Yeah, they're not in the same stratosphere. And we need them to... Like, when I said happily ever after, I meant just their Leaf tenure came to an end in an amicable way. It never ends that way for basically anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like even like Salming left, Sittler left,
McDonald.
Sundin left, McDonald
Keon.
left. He did get his happily ever after, just not here.
If Marner leaves this summer, is his jersey in the rafters? They lose.
That's tough.
They
That's
lose
tough.
in the second round. Marner leaves this summer. Does he get retired in 10 years?
That's
He's done.
tough.
It's a lot of career left.
Yeah. 10 years he plays in Chicago, wins 2 cups with the Blackhawks or something.
Oh, that's
know?
tough.
All right, does Phil Kessel get his name in the
Oh,
rafters?
no.
Why
Not
not?
at all.
Why not?
Well, he's not anywhere close to those guys
Yeah.
anyway.
What?
No, he's just not close.
I don't
to
think
them.
that you're changing the conversation
Yeah.
completely.
No, I know.
I'm asking
I
you about
know.
Mitch Marner.
But I need the Leafs to have a deep run and maybe even win so that we can all look back on how good these guys really are.
And really
Answer my
absorb
question.
it.
No.
Does Mitch Marner
won't.
get his jersey in the
won't answer it.
rafters?
Probably, and a lot of people are upset about it. And that goes for all of them. That goes for all of them. It's not a Mitch thing.
I want to say this too. John Tavares. Is John Tavares the greatest Maple Leaf free agent signing of all time? 500 games he just played. 475 points. Very nice rounded numbers. We love that. Is John Tavares the greatest free agent signing in Maple Leafs history? And I tend to think yes. Still almost a point a game player 7 years after signing.
Everyone else who was so good for them as a free agent, again, they just weren't around for very long. Curtis Joseph.
4 unbelievable years.
Unbelievable.
Belfour was amazing for 2 years after him.
He was very good. He was very, very good. Alex McGillney.
Oh,
Gary Roberts.
outstanding. 2 years, though. Neuendijk, 2 years.
Joe Neuendijk. Michael Renberg. Robert Reichel. No, yeah. So, it's him.
James Myrtle did an article in 2020 on this. Number 1 on his list, Boreas Olme.
Oh,
Was
he
a
was
free
technically,
hit? Oh.
yeah, he wasn't Okay.
Fine.
All right, if we're splitting hairs, then we'll give it to Boria. I think even JT would.
Okay. New rule.
If you
Best
have
free agent signing after the NHL invented
or
rules.
best free agent signing after having played an NHL game, because Boria signed right out of Sweden.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I mean, it's like, oh, well, we got to put Tyler Bozak on that list because he signed out of college. Like, I think, that's a little bit different. It's a different circumstance.
I understand what Adam's saying.
You have to have played a pro game.
You think the list is wrong?
I think James, and I would say this to James if he were here, because James knows I love him. James is being James about that. Like, that is a James Myrtle-ass article right there. And I know he would say that too. That's James going, well, technically. And I'm like, yo, don't technically.
He's a free.
We know what a UFA is.
He's a free agent.
Yeah,
signing.
and this is back in the day when they used to do the draft on the telephone.
In 1973 is when he signed.
Yeah, and I think they drafted Siller literally on the phone in 1971 or 2.
He was probably one of the first 5 Swedish players in the league.
And
Something like that. All right, best free agent signing in Blue Jays history, Vladimir Guerrero. Like, I don't know. It's just
that's different.
Well, how is that different, Jesse?
Because he wasn't.
Baseball doesn't have rules.
Oh, yeah.
He's 16.
I guess if you want to look at it that way, sure.
Yeah.
I like Adam's rule.
Cujo was number 2 on his list.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
3 was Belfour. 4 was JT.
So I think
But remember, this was
2020.
This was written in the middle of the pandemic in June of 2020. So Tavares still had another 5 years of Leafs hockey to play.
I love the line there. He's also only 29. Oh man, how funny is that? I think John had been with the team 2 seasons at that point.
Yeah, like I feel like if we asked James to update his list, it might look a little different.
I agree.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that list a lot. I think John's at the top of that list now.
I
know I don't count Boria, although I love Boria.
Can I ask you guys a question about the Leafs and winning before we move on from
Please.
No.
Since Four Nations, amongst teams in the playoffs as of today, the Leafs have only beaten one of them. They beat the Carolina Hurricanes the day after Four Nations ended when they broke their break. And since then, they have not beaten a single team that is currently in a playoff spot.
February 22nd, I believe.
All of their wins have come against non-playoff teams. Is that concerning?
Yeah.
And does that not put a spotlight on tonight's game against Colorado even more?
Sure does. Are the Rangers in a spot?
No.
No. So can't do it against them. Can't do it against the Preds on Saturday. And then I think they play one more game and then they go to California. Mm-hmm. And there's not a whole lot of playoff action out there. There's LA. Oh, boy.
So this stretch features losses to Vegas, Colorado, Florida, Ottawa.
Oh, so and their next 3 games after tonight, Rangers, Preds, Philly. Nope. Then you go to California, Sharks, nope. Listen. This is the quiz en route to the exam. If you fail the quiz, at the end of the day, you can still pass the exam. Mm-hmm. But don't you feel better?
Yeah.
You do well on the quiz.
Yeah.
You pass the quiz.
There aren't a lot of playoff teams to face, so these games become even more important because these are the litmus test games. And you have not passed a single one since Carolina.
That's in nearly a month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, this is a big game for them.
Yeah.
You can score on these guys.
I think
don't let them hang 7 on you.
I think tonight means a lot based on how the last 2 weeks have gone. And the Calgary game was great. It's nice, but it is against a lesser opponent. And when you have come against these big opponents in the last 4 weeks, really, you have fallen short. So we'll see. And this does include a win against New York, who's no longer in the playoffs. Remember that second week, the third game out of Four Nations. They beat New York there, but New York hasn't looked good at all.
And Calgary is sort of in this weird no man's land.
Yeah, the same place New York is. So this Colorado game means a lot. And
huge.
Florida meant a lot, and you didn't show up. They all meant a lot.
They kind of now do. But is the confidence now? Are we looking for the confidence now?
Yeah, build off of this.
So the win against Calgary changes your day. It changes how you look at your day. A couple wins out of this back-to-back here changes, I think, the story of it. Just changes the story.
Let's face it. After a night with some drinks, we don't bounce back the way we used to.
No,
those were good days. But you know what? There are ways around that. ZBiotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. So pre-alcohol produces an enzyme. It breaks the byproduct down, and all you have to do is make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. And Jesse and Steve, tell me about the things that you need to get up for early the next morning.
Doing a podcast with my friends.
Or being a dad.
and yeah.
Yeah.
But no.
You can't lie in bed all morning.
No, one of them's harder.
Is it
Podcast.
us? Yeah. All right. Jesse, what about yourself?
For me, if it's like the summer, the early thing I'm doing is golfing. So it's like, if I got like it's 9 a.m. tea time or something like that, or 8 a.m. tea time, you got to get up. It's so early, drive out to wherever, Ontario, and get ready. So if it's on a Friday and I got tea time on a Saturday, you know, pre-alcohol help that Friday night.
Another reason why golf is not for me. You got to wake up early.
Jesse, it's pronounced Ajax.
Go to zbiotics.com/dangle to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use Dangle, Dangle, at checkout. ZBiotics is backed by a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they're going to refund your money, no questions asked. Product only available in the U.S. And remember, head to zbiotics.com/dangle and use the code DANGLE at checkout for 15% off. Let's go through this Gary Bettman press conference, boys. Okay, so Gary Bettman says the NHL and PA will meet April 1st for CBA talks. He said, I hope that these can be quiet and we get it done. And I think Gary's aiming for June. If you were to ask Gary, from what I've heard around the league, he wants it to be done in June. So right around the Stanley Cup, they can announce that they've got the CBA extension done.
That'd be nice.
From what we've heard, there's not a whole lot stopping that from happening. Both sides are working well together, so that's great. Believe me, as a business owner with Steve and Jesse, we're really hoping that they get to an agreement.
How good are you guys at video games?
This is going to be a great NBA show. No rules proposed at the GM meetings. No rule changes. We do know Tom Fitzgerald, and there was a big article about it, wants to really push the NHL to get cut-resistant gear into the game, which makes a lot of sense, especially his family connection with that. Bettman is not a fan of the decentralized draft. Well, that's a shame. Maybe try it once, Gary. You probably weren't a fan of the Four Nations thing either. And look at that. Try stuff, man. Just try it. He also said he doesn't favor extended 3-on-3 OT.
I agree with Gary on that one, by the way.
I do too, the more I think about it.
What?
What, the extended 3-on-3? I know.
You don't know. Not the extended 3. Wait, which were you saying?
I'm talking about the draft.
Oh, I was talking about extended 3-on-3, which I already moved on.
No.
No, the decentralized draft. No. I think you're... Every good league is doing it decentralized. This isn't hard. Anyway,
what?
No, it's a better entertainment product when a general manager plus 20 of his entourage are not walking up to the stage in a freaking stadium, thanking all the bars for all the great drinks that week, and then finally fucking making a pick. Let's make it a good entertainment product. Please watch another sport for fresh ideas. Thank you.
So I agree with you in the way the production aspect is presented. Like, I don't think you need everybody up on stage doing the draft picks at all. But I enjoy the idea of all of them being there at the same time and it being an event for all of the players and scouts, or not players, GMs and scouts to get together and people to go to those events. And I like draft 3 days.
Right. Okay.
I think it's a good event, but you can present it differently on television.
Here. Adam, I'm pro beers with friends.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Well, it doesn't sound like it.
Stop. I think the media also is pro not decentralizing the draft so they can all go. And I don't blame them. It's a lot of fun.
They're pro couple of beers.
Yeah, they're pro couple of beers for sure.
Dare you.
Bettman says he does not favor extending 3-on-3 OT because of the wear and tear. And here's what I think will happen. Some freaking coach will come in and figure out a trap system, and it'll just be 8 minutes of boring OT rather than 5. A lot of teams just rag the puck and try to get it to shootout. So,
I mean, well, I was going to say shootouts are so rare.
The only way...
It's a Leaf fan talking. They've only had 2.
The only way to make overtime better for me is get rid of the loser point. You want competitive? You want people losing their minds? Get rid of the loser point. Why should they get a point for going to overtime? What have they accomplished? Game isn't over. If you want people to go hard in that 5 minutes of 3-on-3, pull that point. It's done.
I don't mind a team getting to overtime and getting something in the standings. I don't think you should get half a win. That's a lot.
Well, a quarter of a win then?
I don't know.
Quarter points? Oh, that'll make things exciting.
Well,
I don't like, and I have to be honest with you, I don't like the way the PWHL does it either. Like, I know they're trying things, but there are 4 different categories in the PWHL. And I'm like, how does a new fan even absorb that?
I don't.
Every other league is
at all.
Every other league is win-loss.
You know,
win
where we
loss.
just
Did you win? Did you lose?
Four Nation face-off. I understood it perfectly.
Because you won or you lost.
No,
they had a point system.
very the opposite.
Fart.
3.
Yes, I know.
two,
Sweden tied
one,
Canada
or
in
0.
points, and Canada won. Yeah.
Well,
Fart.
and I understood it perfectly fine.
Next season starts October 7th. The league was surprised by and we're going to leave this because it's not even really worth discussing, but I have to mention it. NHL, KHL All-Star game that Trump and Putin talked about yesterday. Whatever.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm sure they apparently, Elliot, and we mentioned this earlier, lots of brainstorming about the All-Star game next season. Gary did say that Four Nations has raised the bar, which is good because finally. According to Elliot, players will have to be there because they will travel to the Olympics from New York City right afterwards. So that's how they're going to force the Stars to be there. Is you're going to the Olympics from New York because the NHL obviously is chartering those flights. So you'll have to be in New York at the All-Star game too.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean you have to play, but make appearances.
Oh, make it like mandatory. That's
Do media.
Yeah, man.
We're gonna get
nothing like a great
good
All-Star game
media.
that's mandatory.
Well, you know what? There is something to that.
Yeah.
They are going
Like,
to Italy.
yeah. Yes.
It is Italy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that's basically the press conference, which is nice. It's not that I told you nothing would infuriate you. Nothing.
Yeah, he's not like holding anything over anyone.
No, I think they're making it happen. Now,
So did he talk about the Trump Putin stuff? I know.
he did. He just said, I don't know anything about it because we weren't asked about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's something that they just kind of threw in there at the end.
well, the United States government does not own the NHL.
We're not focusing on this. We're moving on.
Right.
Listen, Jesse, Steve, question for you. Okay. How does Chris Johnson, aka Cute Journalist, normally make you feel?
Warm.
Warm. Jesse, what about
Same,
that?
yeah.
Warm, happy,
Yeah.
confident. Yeah. Are you ready for Chris Johnson to give you anxiety?
Okay.
Did you guys see this article?
Maybe.
It's an article about what happens
Well,
if Alexander Ovechkin's record-setting goal to beat Wayne Gretzky has to be reviewed. Which I thought was a great freaking premise for an article.
no, I'm not stressed out. That's hilarious.
Yeah, so he did interview your buddy Colton Campbell, who I know you love.
Oh, good.
Uh,
what did he have to say?
He said we got to treat it like any other goal, any other situation. He said nothing special, just do your job and be ready. I know there's going to be a lot of noise. It's hard to protect yourself against that sort of passion. The NHL has made the determination, and I'm quoting directly, that its hockey ops department will take the lead whenever Ovechkin finds himself one goal away. That means that none of the production elements or special plans for what's going to happen when this goal inevitably goes in will be unfurled until the window passes where an opponent can challenge his potential goal. And so that means to me, though, that if the goal goes in, they got to wait till the next face-off to play, and then they'll stop the game.
It's got to be
and
an
then they'll
amount
do
of time, I guess. Yeah.
because they don't have a time limit right now. So it's when the puck is dropped, when the refs are satisfied. So they're not going to be able to they're going to celebrate it, then they're going to review it potentially, and then they're going to drop the puck, and then they'll bring the whole bench out and celebrate.
The most Alexander Ovechkin thing ever is going to happen. He's going to score. The bench is going to empty. They're going to review it. It won't count. Play will continue. He'll score again. The bench will empty again. It'll count. He's going to score the 895th goal of his career twice.
Will it be, Jesse, a huge disappointment if that goal does not count? Do you think it will take the air out of the balloon and make the celebration a little less?
That'd be the worst thing ever to happen. Like, we saw it when Nathan McKinnon scored his 1,000th point the other day. Did you guys see that? When
Yes.
everybody came off the bench and they celebrated, and then it didn't count at all. Like, it was a laughable moment. Like, you're like, this is so embarrassing. What are we doing here? And this would just be a higher level of that. It'd be awful.
The necessity gives birth to innovation, or whatever the saying is. I hope it is a offside 45 seconds after offside. And the review takes forever, and it negates the goal, and we finally fix reviews.
This could fix reviews. It's a good point.
100%. Oh, if it's a random goal from a random player on a Thursday,
No one
they
cares.
are not changing it. Ovechkin breaks Gretzky's record, and it's a gong show. Instant change.
So why I don't think that's going to happen is because something like offsides will have to be challenged. And I don't think the head coach on the other end is going to challenge Ovechkin's 896 goal.
But we'll know. Like, what if it's definitely offside and it's not challenged?
Then that's it. Then it's a goal. That's a goal. It
So
needs
the
to be-
record-breaking goal shouldn't have counted.
Maybe. Who knows? But I don't think it'll ever be. I don't think it'll be challenged by the head coach. So I think we avoid those situations where it has to be something like I think it's a hand pass would be challengeable or offsides would be challengeable. Goalie interference, however, what Chris uses in the article, his example, is something that's just reviewed by the NHL. So a goalie interference one would be a situation where we could bring it off the board. But offsides, I think you just let it play.
Goalie could be broken in half. I don't see contact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see any contact.
So I honestly don't think it's really realistic. It is possible if there's a goalie interference, but Ovi's never that close to the net. He's in his spot.
Yeah,
That's also true. Yeah.
You know?
It is
Well,
the
yeah, but
spot.
what about Tom?
Well, Tom Wilson's charging
If
somebody.
Tom Wilson's
yeah.
the reason Ovi doesn't get it,
Oh, man.
hilarious.
Listen, it's Ovechkin. We all know what's going to happen. He's going to go into the game with 893, 894, 895, 896. That's what's going to happen.
Hat trick?
Of
be fun.
course, it's Ovi.
My bet is it scored on an empty net.
Nope.
Keeping in line.
No, it'll be on a goalie.
You think so?
Yep.
Yo, empty net and
What
it's
if,
called back
what
for
if the
offside.
net is empty and he has 895? Do you think what is he going to do? Not shoot it?
He's going to miss.
What is
He's bad.
what is he going to
He's
do?
going to miss because he's bad.
I'm getting this.
He's
to
going to
Strome.
wait. He's going to wait for a goalie.
I want a friendly bet. I want a friendly bet with you. Will
now.
it be an empty netter or on a goalie?
Will
No,
you-
you have. I'm not taking those odds. Like I would need juice on that.
He would need you. That's fair.
Yeah, because
That's not a fair bet.
So I get a minute of action that has to happen if they get in the lead and then they pull the goalie, and then those aren't fair odds. Like I'm not just doing a straight up bet.
We'll figure it out.
Okay. Suggestions
This
welcome,
isn't
by the
my
way.
first rodeo.
Suggestions welcome in the comments section. Like, right?
Yeah.
Come on. Next one I want to go to is daily checkup on the Rangers, where the Rangers are, and they're not in a playoff spot, and the Montreal Canadiens are with 2 games in hand. That is pretty damn exciting for Canada because, frankly, we could have 6 or 7 teams in here. Probably looking more like 6 at best.
Yeah, I don't think Calgary and Vancouver can't make it.
Yeah, it's
so
sort of like one or the other.
Max is 6.
That would be kind of neat, though.
Awesome. It'd be awesome.
And what's hilarious is that Montreal beat a very, very good Washington team early on in Ovechkin's career and surprised everybody. I think that was Halak Spring, was it not?
Yes, it was.
And, there's some talk that, Washington's PDO is a little out of whack. Maybe they regress in the first round. I don't know.
That would be insane.
Can
What
you
a way to
imagine the
end
celebrations
that.
in Montreal?
Oh,
Like if they got into the first round and then beat the Caps? Because they'd be playing the Caps.
you know what we didn't have in 2010 was that like Habs fans TV. Some dude with a grill just going, "Holy shit, Yarrow and just ripping stop signs off the beam. That's what we need in 2025.
Yeah.
Just don't let Russian Machine Never Breaks see this.
Yeah. They'll never forgive you.
No.
It's a very cool story. Very excited for Montreal Canadiens fans. Hopefully they can stay there. What a changeover from the first 3 months of the season where they looked like crap. They were not playing as well at all, and they took a step forward the way that you mentioned at the beginning of the season. They needed to.
Buddy?
But they disagreed with you. They're, no, we don't need to take a step forward.
No. And now that they have, hey, any Habs fan who yipped at me for saying that this season Montreal needs to take a step forward, permission to enjoy this revoked.
Oh.
You don't get to enjoy this. You wanted them to be bad. You wanted them to be bad. You wanted me to be wrong, and I said they'd be good, and you wanted me to be wrong, which means you wanted them to be bad. So shame on you. You don't get to enjoy the Habs being good. You don't get to. I was right about them being good. Where was your faith? This Leaf fan was all over it. Where were you? Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll ever recover from that.
they might.
Under the radar, Montreal slipping into that playoff spot is as a result of Columbus not kind of getting back to what
Losing
we thought
4
they
in a
would
row,
be.
yeah.
Like it was such a great story for the entire year up until this moment where they've fallen on by the wayside and lost their playoff
Hey,
spot.
Jesse, what's Columbus's last 10?
Oh,
It says 4-6 on the
Hey,
standings
what's
here.
Detroit's last 10, Jesse?
2-8.
That is, once the season's over,
father.
whoever are the writers, the beat writers for the Detroit Red Wings, I can't wait to just read all of them. If this remains this way, this is going to be an all-timer journalism feast.
The Bruins are going to get such a good player. I hate it.
What's hilarious is Detroit will get a less good player, at least as of right now.
Oh, 100%. As is tradition. Jesse, can you pull up the Western Conference wildcard picture? Because here's what we need. Boo, Minnesota. Don't let Hayden hear this. Here, sorry, he's in the other room. Boo, Minnesota. And more like St. Bouis. That's what we need to happen. We need Kevin Lankinen to keep Kevin Lankinening. And the Flames to stop abandoning Dustin Wolf.
Worth mentioning, the Flames did beat the New York Rangers last night 2-1.
And still 2 games in hand on St. Louis. They got a game in hand on Vancouver. Game in hand on Minnesota, I think. I don't have my glasses
How did the
on.
Rangers let the Flames win that
New York's the most depressing team to watch in the whole league. Every time there's an opportunity to do something, they can't get it done. They have no will to win a hockey game.
second half
It's
of a
awful.
back-to-back with travel?
It's awful. It's awful hockey.
Well, I mean, okay. Let me be like, good for Calgary. What a bounce back.
I agree, but
No?
let's the New York angle is the stronger angle, which is good for Calgary. It's great, but like
I was such a fan of what New York did at
Me
the
too.
deadline. And,
I think they'll be
it's
back
not-
next year.
It might be back this year.
Well, I still think they're going to make the playoffs. Dallas.
Oh yeah, you're not. So
I'm not backing off on that. I do
right
think
now, because it's Montreal versus New York,
Yep.
you're taking the Rangers.
I want Montreal and Ottawa in. Rah, Canada. Okay? I think New York will do it. And I think the reason is his name's Igor Shesterkin. I think he can turn it on. It's been a garbage year for a franchise that's chaotic at the top. Eventually that filters down to the team. I think it's pretty hard to overcome the start they've had, right? But their start, October, November, was
Horrible.
garbage.
They were like last place.
So the fact that they're here, I think, says something about where that team actually is.
Yes.
Is that fair?
They probably weren't the President's Trophy winners. They were never the basement dwellers.
They were never there with the Sabres.
They're somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah,
like they
nobody's
were with
the
the Sabres. And speaking of, Jesse, I want to throw a graphic up on the screen. Can I throw this to you? Le Sabres. Here's a, I want Kevin Adams, if he's watching this, to ignore everything we've ever said. Kevin Adams, never make a trade again. Never. Don't. Because every time you do, the player that you trade, even though I do like the Norris trade for them, every time you do, the player that you trade does really, really good elsewhere. What you need to do is figure out what the hell the problem is in Buffalo that you can't get those performances out of them. And this goes back before Kevin Adams, Brandon Montour, Jake McCabe, Jack Eichel, Sam Reinhart. Who else we want to mention?
Oh, yeah. Good list.
Linus Ullmark.
Oh, Linus Ullmark's a good one.
They let him get away. He was great, and they let him get away.
You know who they drafted? Brandon Hagel.
No way.
They drafted Brandon Hagel.
Good pick.
Yes.
He'd be great for them. Imagine.
Can't.
Look at Dylan Cousins' stats since coming to Ottawa. And by the
Oh, my God.
this is since joining the Senators. He is first in scoring chances, first in slot shots on net, first in hits, first in faceoff wins, and controlled zone entries, second.
So he's doing everything. And Sabres fans have a legitimate gripe here, which is, dude, you made a lot of money. Why couldn't you just do that here?
I heard that with Jack Eichel, too.
Well, right? There's some consistencies with the story. Something is wrong in the water in Buffalo. Like, this is why we talk about the Blackhawks differently than we talk about the Sharks. Like, Bedard looks miserable. Celebrini looks like he's at an amusement park every day. Like, there's something about attitude. There's something about mood. And the mood in Buffalo is always grim. The last player to show up in Buffalo and have this bright eye and bushy-tailed attitude about it, like, I get to play for the Buffalo Sabres, was Alex Tuck. And he came in there.
From Buffalo.
Yeah, like fired out of a cannon. And who's jacked to be. Who ends up on the Buffalo Sabres and is like, I've done everything right.
Mm-hmm.
If you get drafted there, it's one thing. Did Taylor Hall sign with the Sabres a few years ago? Like, hell yeah, I made the right choice. No.
He signed there because he had to.
He took that deal because he messed up.
Because he and his agent didn't take the big fat extension they were offering.
Yeah, and Buffalo was like, okay, we're geniuses. We're going to overpay you for 1 year and
Trade you
for like a couple of packs of smokes. Like, they did not get a great return for Taylor Hall. You know why? Taylor Hall was ass garbage for them. Why? Every time they get a guy, they're ass garbage.
Wow.
And then
It's quite the term.
they leave and they're better. That almost every time. The well is poisoned. And it ain't the fans. So what's been there the whole time?
Ownership and management?
No, not management. Very not management. They keep rotating through those guys. I have a hard time blaming Kevin Adams for anything. He's just some other guy who's failed in a long line of guys who have failed. At some point, the common denominator is the person who signs all their paychecks. It's ownership.
There you go. Jesse, anything to add?
We can take a look at the playoff odds. 1 second. Sport Logic had the playoff odds for the West and the East. The Blues actually have the best playoff odds to make the playoffs. They have 45% chance to make the playoffs. The Canucks 26%. The Flames 25%. Utah 9%. That's how Sport Logic is breaking out the playoff odds right now. In the East, they have Montreal with a 43% chance to make the playoffs. The Blue Jackets 20%. The Rangers 19%. The Islanders 17%. And the Red Wings 7%.
I know the graphics guy was like, do I have to?
We can't rule out the Islanders going on a little bit of a run. They snuck in last year despite everybody thinking they couldn't do it.
Games in hand as well.
They have an opportunity with a couple games in hand. I don't rule out the Islanders making the playoffs there as well.
Hey, the Pittsburgh Penguins are not mathematically eliminated yet.
Only one team is.
San Jose.
And we'll be there next week.
Yes, as truthers. The other thing I want to quickly mention, NHL Global Series will happen in Stockholm. Get your warm chocolate and get to Avicii Arena.
Hell yeah.
Both real things. It's just a stunning lineup.
No, they're not.
Stunning lineup.
One is a real thing.
Stunning lineup of the Penguins,
wrong?
the Penguins and the Preds.
There'll be fun games.
What are you talking about?
Oh, that's cool. I'm so excited. The NHL's two of the NHL's
Nah,
worst teams.
You got the wrong.
I know it's Carlson versus.
You got the wrong
whatever.
read of this. It's when the Swedes score in Sweden, the roof flies off. Nylander, roof. Friggin' Lucas Raymond was there for that. Roof. The Swedes. The Pens got Carlson. They got Rickard Rakell. The Preds got Forsberg. And I can't think of anyone else.
Englund.
Who?
Andreas Englund.
And
That's
they're going to lose it for that guy.
Price of admission,
They're
right
gonna
there.
lose it for that guy. They're going to come undone for that.
Listen, it is a good Swedish matchup. It's just you just kind of wish one of those teams was a little better. Maybe they'll be good next year.
It's all about the game in front of you.
Yeah, true.
It's last year. What was one of the better games? It was Sens Red Wings when friggin' Stützle scored in overtime because Reimer ducked.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
That was a great game.
Yeah.
I want to say there was like a blown 4-0 lead. It was a great game.
And one quick last thing before we get to the John Forslund interview. NHL Olympic update. Hey, it's Italy.
Whoa.
The plan as of now regarding Olympic rosters is for each country to name 6 players in June. We don't know when in June.
Why are we doing this?
And the rest of the rosters will be end of December. So I would imagine post-Christmas.
It's the 31st.
Well, there you go.
That's
Pierre
the end of
LeBrun did
December?
not say the 31st.
I think Frank had the 31st
Okay.
date.
Oh,
They're
Frank
both
better be
right.
Yes.
McKinnon, Crosby, McDavid, McCarr.
Petrangelo.
No.
No?
Yeah, but it's yes, but no. Who's a good lock?
Binnington.
And I need a fifth
Honestly,
square.
they might.
Can you give me a fifth square?
Okay, sorry. What do we do?
I have
McKinnon,
McCarr,
Easy.
Crosby,
yeah.
McDavid. Did I say that?
McDavid, McKinnon, McCarr, Crosby. Is
There
what
you go.
said.
Oh, okay, there's the 4. Yeah. Who's 5?
Binnington.
Who am I missing?
Binnington.
Do you do Taves?
No.
Do you do Marner?
Do you do Taves?
Marner.
Oh,
There's
maybe.
a good one.
Yeah,
Marner.
Yeah, Marner.
There you go. Leaf.
There's
You
number
don't do the
5.
goalie? You don't do a goalie?
No, leave it. Leave the goalie. We went through that.
Point?
Marner's you nailed it. It's Marner.
But there's 6, though.
I thought,
They got to name
5.
6.
Oh,
The 3 M's.
yeah.
Oh, 4 M's now.
No, let's
Marner.
repeat them again.
McKinnon, McDavid,
No.
Crosby. No, shut up.
Maddie's pretty
Marner,
close.
McCarr.
I'm just looking at the Four Nations face-off roster for Canada.
Nick Suzuki.
Yes, is gonna be. Yeah, I think we nailed it with McDavid. Stone, Point,
It's Petrangelo, guys.
or
Doug Armstrong guy. Petrangelo. Bruce Cassidy. Pete DeBoer.
He said no to the tournament.
Stone or Point.
Nah.
I think it's Stone or Point.
Point.
Petro.
Yeah, I
Who's
think.
the coach? Point.
They're wrong and smelly.
Yeah, it's Point. It's Braden Point.
You
That's,
think
that's the correct answer?
you think Petro said no to 4 Nations and he's going to get one of the early slots?
No.
You're on drugs.
Well, yeah, because they're salty about that kind of stuff. They are
oh
salty.
yes.
Team Canada
can be
management's the
very
pettiest people on earth.
I do want to say that I think
I think we nailed it.
I
by the
think
way.
he made a mistake.
Yeah, we've been through that.
Yeah. On the USA side,
Oh, okay. I can do this too. Matthews,
Yep.
Eichel,
Yep.
Hughes,
Yep.
both of them.
Yep.
Luke Hughes. No, I'm kidding.
Adam Fox,
Ooh.
Connor Hellebuck.
Hellebuck, yes.
Wow.
Six.
Wow. One guy who is a fraud.
I
and
disagree
the other one who
with
might
Fox.
be.
Disagree.
I disagree with Fox. He hasn't
Okay,
played well enough.
okay. So we'll,
I mean, he's going to make
scratch that. This is I'm fucking idiot. Scratch Fox.
it. Oh.
I'm scratch
Oh my
Fox.
God.
Shut up. I'm an idiot. Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think
Or-
you got to go both.
I think you have to have
You
both.
gotta
Kachucks.
go
You can't have. No.
Matthew and Brady.
Who do you pull off that then?
I
You
think
got to have both. You
Doesn't
do have to have
matter.
No, I don't think you have to have both. I think Tkachuk, Matt is the lock.
I think-
Austin's a lock. Both Hugheses are a lock, I think. And then Hellebuck's the lock.
Do you name?
I think they
I
take
don't think there's room for Brady.
they take Jack Hughes off because of the injury.
Here's an alternate perspective.
Fair.
What if you named all 6 members of the Minnesota Wild medical staff? Sorry, was that too bad? All right, cool.
I think that's a pretty good 6 for USA.
Okay.
Let's. We can do the Brady for Jack, flip flop, whichever way you want it. But I think the other 5 then you lock.
I think it depends on, because Jack's out for the season. If Brady's in the playoffs and he has a great run, then you have to name him because Jack had the shoulder thing,
Let's
right?
do
But
that.
it's not a hate against Jack. Quick question:
Playoff dependent.
Can we do a Sweden one too?
Sure.
So
You want 6
All the guys we mentioned from the Preds Pens game.
yeah, so Raquel.
England.
Here, let me do this. Carlson, Hedman,
Yep.
Hedman.
Nylander.
Nylander, Pedersen.
Yeah. Ooh, I don't know, Jesse.
Yeah, he's gonna be on the team. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but are you naming him in
so
your
is
top 6?
Jack
You
Hughes.
can't.
I think
So is Mark
I think
Stone.
Pedersen makes it. And then
Which one?
So you don't say Ricard Raquel, who's got over 30 goals?
Free
this
to
year?
pick one.
Ricard Raquel?
Who do I? Oh, Forsberg,
Oh yeah.
Philip. How many is that? 5.
Yeah, ish.
And Lucas Raymond.
Oh, Lucas Raymond's a good one.
Do we then maybe Zibanejad? But like
No, you can't
They've-
name Zibanejad with the
Okay.
season he's had.
so Forsberg. Sorry. Oh, Dahlin too.
Any goalie?
Carlson, Gustafson, Markstrom, Allmark. You could toss up. We don't know who's going to be the starter there.
Yeah.
like that's a
So,
good competition.
so
I'd
3
lean
defense, 3
Allmark.
forward. So Hedman,
Carlson,
Carlson,
Hedman,
Dahlin.
Yeah. Boom.
Viking.
Raymond,
That's not fair. They're all
Nylander, Forsberg.
Okay. That's the
Or-
only way you can keep Raquel off that
no
list for me because
center.
you can't put.
Or
Who cares?
You go Pedersen instead of Raymond.
Yeah, I don't think you put.
based on performance. Well, okay. Omitting the last 2 weeks, I'd have Raymond ahead of Pedersen for sure.
And then do you do the thing where it's like we don't want Raymond because he's the young guy, and you throw on Adrian Kempe?
No,
You
No.
know?
for one of the top.
No,
For one of the
Raymond's
first
a star.
six?
Raymond's
No.
a stud.
Okay.
This is the best of the best. I would give it to Zibanejad over Kempe,
Eriksson Ek.
No.
who was good. Who was very good.
Raymond, look it.
Matthias Ekholm.
Great player.
Oh.
Yeah, but you can't have 4 defensemen.
Yes,
You're
you friggin' can.
Who cares? We're Sweden.
That's true. They'd be like, you know what? We'll just do it our own way.
We're
Damn
big.
it. All right. So let's do Finland.
That's fun.
Henry Jokiharju.
up.
Yanni Hockenbach. No, I'm kidding.
Montenpalo.
Monpal.
Finland's actually not bad.
No, Finland's amazing.
Line.
Yeah, Barkov.
Aho. Barkov. 3 locked in.
Mikko.
Heiskanen.
Ooh.
Then we get a little.
You got to put Mikko in there. Rantanen.
Goalie?
Rantanen.
Oh, Mikko Rantanen.
Oh, yeah,
yeah. Fuck. And then that's 5
And a goalie,
solid
and a
lists.
goalie.
And then we can do Rupe Hintz.
Ooh.
We could do. I don't want to. We could do a goalie, which would be UC Saros.
He's a stud, man. He's a star.
I think UC
Bad
Saros.
year,
UC Saros is 6.
but he's a star. He is a star.
Yeah.
Because then we're getting to like Capo Caco or Eric
Yeah.
Holla or Granlund,
All good players, but not stars.
Yeah.
Not like-
Teravainen.
yeah.
Let's go Saros.
Yeah, because Saros still listen. He's had a down year in with the Preds, but let's be honest, it's not his fault.
He's gonna start.
Yeah, and he sells tickets. It's the
That's a good
top
one.
6 are the guys that sell the tickets.
We're getting so caught up on all guys who are definitely going to be there.
No,
But we're doing the top.
But it's
Yeah.
fun.
Me, I just
It's
had the
fun.
most
I
fun.
love that. No, it's
I
very
love that
fun.
shit. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah.
get caught up, baby.
All right, Germany.
Draisaitl. Marco Sturm. No.
Nico Sturm.
Nico Sturm. No. Yeah, Draisaitl.
Hold on.
JJ
German
Peterka.
NHL players. Okay, yeah, JJ Peterka. Okay, Moritz Seider.
Oh!
Leon Draisaitl. Tim Stützle.
Philip Grubauer.
JJ
Tim
Pe-
Stützle.
Grubauer.
We can get to 6.
JJ Peterka.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We're
at 5. We're at 5.
Oh God, Lucas Reichel? No. Like he's Chicago, right?
What's he at? What's his season like?
Not great. Not great because they haven't. I don't think they've utilized him well. Current NHL German player.
Nico Sturm, if he wins another
Active NHL. Okay, there are only 7.
Oh.
So
never mind.
They're Draisaitl, Stützle, Seider, Peterka, Sturm, Reichel, Grubauer.
Who's the odd man out?
Grubauer,
Okay.
I think.
What?
He's
the only. He's their starting goalie.
I know. Okay, well then I guess it's Lucas Reichel.
Okay, yeah. Tied to the veteran.
Yeah, because Lucas Reichel has 52 career points in 158 games. Nico Sturm is 91 and 321.
Don't let
Sturm's a
Grubauer
good
being
player.
bad get in the way of him literally being their starter.
I got another one to throw at you.
All right.
Czechia.
All of Allen's clients.
Oh, yeah. Alan Walsh.
Jonathan Huberdeau,
Yvonne.
Max Pacioretty,
Yeah, David Juracek. His
Marc-Andre
brother.
Fleury. Sorry, yeah.
Pasternak.
Okay.
Nietzsche's.
Yeah.
Palat.
Oh.
Hurdle. Hronik. And then we get a little
Gudis. Got to be Gudis. He's the captain.
Radko Gudis for sure.
That's it.
That's 6.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good 6.
That's good.
That's a pretty good six.
That's a pretty good 6.
Who else could be there? Great Britain.
Like
could do
Lucas
Russia.
Dostal, it would be criminal not to have him in there, but I get why you don't because he's
He's not going to
still
make
on
the 6.
He's not going to make the 6. I think you got to have Gudis. He was the captain and they won the world championship.
Can we do pretend maybe Russia makes it? They redo the.
Yeah, I would love
Who's
to.
their 6? Ovi?
Vasilevsky. Oh, yeah.
Ovi.
Ovi.
Oh, yeah, is he good?
Kucherov.
Kucherov.
Vasilevsky.
Kaprizov.
Malkin?
Malkin. Panarin.
Shesterkin.
That's it. Oh, somebody's got to go.
Oh,
You already have Vasi.
You can,
Okay,
you
Malkin
can do
off,
two goalies.
Shesterkin on.
Wait, what?
Malkin off, Shesterkin on.
Oh, no.
You're nuts.
Shesterkin's a
You're doing
star.
2 goalies?
What are you talking about? No.
Are you telling me they don't? Like, those are 2 of the best goalies in the NHL right now.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, one of them's going to play.
They're like top. If you were to name top 3 NHL goalies, they're both in it.
Adam, only one of
Schmollers?
them is going to play.
Hilda B.
Well, that's the Russian
You can't
coach's
put- You
problem.
can't put the backup goalie in the starting 6.
Yeah, you can. That's hilarious.
I think you go Svechnikov.
That's a good one.
Svechnikov.
No, you drop the goalies, both of them. 'Cause
No,
you can't
you can't do that.
Can't play favorites.
The easy thing to do for all these countries is to do 3 forwards, 2D, 1 goalie.
No, you got to do the top 6 stars.
Okay,
regardless of
guys,
position.
so you're going to say no goalies when they have Shesterkin, Vasilevsky,
Yeah.
and Bobrovsky.
Here,
I'm not
Steve,
saying no
can you
goalies.
count this for me?
Okay.
Kaprizov, Malkin, Kucherov, Panarin, Ovi, Sergachev.
No. You got to have a goalie.
Or instead of Sergachev, Svechnikov.
You got to have a goalie.
Leave off
Sergachev over
Vasi,
Svech.
leave off Shesterkin.
You're
because
nuts.
one of them is going to be the backup
guys are
goalie.
out of your
You're
minds.
not making that decision in June. You leave them off.
Ovi Malkin, Kucherov,
Kaprizov, Panarin. You got 5.
Prizov, Panarin,
How you can't leave any of those guys off
Vasilevsky.
over Shesterkin?
2
I
cups.
I think Vasi will start that.
2 cups.
Yeah, the Cups.
He's been the better goalie by a decent margin this year.
Oh, boy.
On a better team.
Adam, do you know the geopolitical landscape?
Uh-huh.
Your friends in the billionaire club
Yes.
are always making the decisions for the world with your being the little puppet master.
Yes, well, I was on that call yesterday. so-
Yeah, what is the landscape amongst Russia and making the Olympics?
I think if there is some sort of peace deal, whether or not it's a good peace deal, I'm not getting into. But if there is a ceasefire peace deal that can be held to for more than a month, like as soon as the IIHF has already said we want Russia back, we need them to wrap up what's going on. This needs to stop. So the second it stops, Russia's in the Olympics. And I think it's a very good possibility because here's the deal. If you're looking at it from a Russian perspective, that gives Putin a nice PR win. And, having hockey in the Olympics, like you remember the Sochi beer cans where they had like the Russian hockey player taking the Canadian woman away from the American woman. Do you guys remember?
What the fuck? No.
Yeah, there was a Russian tall boy can at the Olympics. I remember this being a story where the Russian hockey player is more handsome and attractive to the Canadian woman than the Canadian player is. It was like a fun little Russian joke. And yeah, I know. But that was like an actual story, and it was a thing that you could buy when you were there. So yeah, I would think that they'll be, if this peace deal is for real, there it is.
This is what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and there's the Canadian guy looking on. It's weird. It's weird as hell, I know. But it's true, it happened. I think they're in. But it's a question of, there's a lot more geopolitics that I'm not getting into here because this isn't a political podcast on that particular matter. Not interested. Don't care to expand on it. But yeah, that's what it'll be.
I'm still mesmerized by these beer cans.
That's just insane,
That
right?
is,
I never knew this was a thing.
Yep.
something.
Yep. Yeah, it's 1960 somewhere.
Don't put the camera on me. I don't want the camera on me looking at this shit.
Maddie,
What?
can you zoom in on?
Don't stop it.
Keep it on Steve.
It came on the screen and I was like, whoa, hey, whoa. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Just because you're looking at it doesn't mean you made it. Like,
I
what's wrong
know.
with you?
I don't know. I don't
Steve
care. I don't want to be
endorses it.
associated with this in any way, shape, or form.
Jesse, we were all in the room when Steve drew this, and
Yeah.
and we were.
It was a joke. You can't say anything.
All right,
All
Mr.
right.
Forslund.
Let's bring on John Forslund, who is an absolute legend, and watch Steve get super embarrassed about a minute into this interview. All right, from the commentary box at the top of
my
Scotiabank.
Lord. Can you
Maddie, can you?
imagine?
Can,
I know.
yeah,
The
can we get a shot here of the ice here? This is.
we can't. Is NHL footage?
Oh, but it's the game isn't on yet, is it?
It's close enough to puck drop.
All right,
I'm
fine.
concerned about the ice.
All right, fine. We don't want to get the video pulled from YouTube.
Yeah, no.
We'd love to welcome to the show for the very first time, John Forsland.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we gotta
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
You get a round of applause when
I
you
love
join
you
us.
guys.
Well, we love you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Can I leave now?
That's all we wanted. That's all we wanted.
well, first off, I think the crazy thing is, and we didn't believe it when we met you a couple weeks ago, but you said you actually watched the show.
I do.
Which is amazing.
Halfway.
Halfway.
One episode.
They are long.
One cast. That was
You watch it on mute, right?
No, I watch you guys.
That counts as a
You
view.
guys, you get my attention, and I watch, and you're the next generation. I applaud you guys.
Well, we
Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
Thank you.
It's
I
funny.
do.
We were mic checking, and John said, "Do we need to yell?" And I'm like, "Well, you're in the right place."
I mean, you don't need to, but I'd like to.
So-
it's a lot of fun. You get it out.
So we
Can
had
yell.
Oh, yeah.
we had a great conversation with you in the green room downstairs a couple weeks ago, and that's what kind of started off the idea of doing an interview in the first place, because we could not. Steve and I left that conversation going, oh my God, Jesse, you can't believe what he said. Like,
Very
it's
giddy.
just the
Very
stories
giddy.
you had. And so, and we thought, oh my God, like our audience would absolutely love this. And I
You
think
know when a kid comes back from school and they like learned a new word or like have a new friend? That's
Yeah.
what these guys were.
we
yeah.
made a new friend today, Dad.
Yeah,
Did you settle him down?
I did. I said,
Bring it.
we'll talk to
Let's
him.
rope it in a little bit here,
Yeah,
boys.
let's calm down a little.
Yeah, but it's you know, you're somebody who has such an unbelievable history covering this game, and not just this game, not just the NHL game, but you have you years in the AHL in the 80s too, and that you know, I want to go to that, but first I want to talk about your schedule, because obviously you're doing the Seattle games.
Yeah.
And we were talking about your flights in today and that sort of thing. This year has been sort of unbelievable for you, because you're putting in the type of road trip NHL teams do, but double.
Maybe double, you know, multiple cities and time zones and everything. But let's just knock this out early. I love what I do, right? I love the game, always have. And now I'm getting an opportunity to do something that really matters. And I say that with all due respect to what we do in the United States and all the work I've done starting in the 90s with ESPN, and then remember Versus back in the dark ages. Versus.
Really
That,
dark.
by the way, the
I mean,
last
that
time the
was-
Sabres made the playoffs, it was on Versus.
It was on Versus, yes. And anyway, that was something. And
It sure was.
but it was Versus, I guess, was better than the Outdoor Life Network,
Yeah.
which was what it was at the beginning of that. But then NBC for a number of years, and then the world changed in the United States. It changed for me a little bit. Changed with me leaving North Carolina and the Hurricanes. Changed for me where I didn't have a lot of national work the first time the bread was broken, and they changed. So I went to Seattle. I had a choice between going to Seattle or Tampa Bay, and the Seattle situation was so good and still is that it's just unbelievable. And I've had the 4 best years of my career there with that team. And then now I'm back with TNT again and doing games for them on a part-time basis, and a lot of it in the playoffs. But then this gig was presented, and this has become an unbelievable experience for me. And so I don't feel fatigued at all. You can run through my schedule and you can look at it, and I know my wife does, and she shakes her head and she worries about me
Am
constantly.
I going to see you this week?
Yeah, and she isn't, but it's all good. It's all good. So when the game drives everybody, drives you guys, it gives you the passion to do what you do, gives me the passion to do what I do, and it gives the fans the passion to follow it, right? And that's what we're all looking for, is just to draw them in more to a great game and a great product and go from there.
Change can be, you know, big and scary, and you know, maybe, you know, decades into amazing career. How's it been for you? Has it been like a fun challenge, or like what were your feelings heading into it?
The Amazon show, or just the change, leaving leaving the Hurricanes and getting on with this
Kind of
whole
both
new-
of them.
new
Yeah, it was
thing?
a kind of a
Okay.
catch-all
Well,
question.
it's a really good catch-all question, Steve.
Hell yeah.
Very good. I like catch-all questions.
So good at this.
Yeah.
Oh my
Let's
God.
catch
can't
it
really miss.
and let's spread it around and see where we go here.
Things have changed once or twice for you. Tell us about it.
It's my first catch-all question of the day, Jess.
I think Steve did a great job.
He did.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
Great
Always
delivery.
do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Might be some nerves at play, John.
No, I don't know. I don't know about that. No, it's a very serious question.
He gave you the opportunity to take.
Well,
wherever
let's
you
go
want.
back in time. Okay, so the North Carolina thing changed my world and rocked our world, rocked our family. Now, remember, when that thing happened and the situation broke down, it was in the middle of what was the beginning of the pandemic.
Right.
So I don't know if you guys remember, but I was the first individual exposed to Rudy Gobert's hotel room in Detroit.
Didn't remember that.
didn't
no,
know
no, I
Yeah.
had no idea.
So in March of 2020, we were at the Westin, Jersey City, and we had come from Chicago. The Hurricanes had come from Chicago, and going to play the Devils on a Thursday, and the Wednesday night is when the world changed. And that's when Rudy had his infamous press conference where he touched all the microphones, right? And he was the first pro athlete to have coronavirus and all these different things. And I remember watching it and texting our PR guy and saying, get a load of this guy on ESPN, Rudy Gobert, get a load of it. What's going on here? Anyway, the next day, the 2 buses, the league shuts down and we're going home. And the 2 buses are getting ready to leave, and I'm on the media bus, obviously, and the PR guy, same guy, gets on, kicks everybody off the bus, and says, I got to talk to you. So I thought that finally they got me. I'm getting fired. Right? But it took a pandemic, but after all these wars
Finally they got me.
with objectivity and Peter Carmanis, God bless him, who used to yell at me all the time because I never blasted officials enough for him, and I was always kind to the opponents, and I don't sell down goals when the other team scores on local packages. Anyway, they finally got me. It's over. No, he said, you've been exposed to the coronavirus. Really? You're in Rudy Gobert's room in Detroit.
Oh my God.
So we were in Detroit, and the Utah team had left, and the Carolina came in, and that was the last game I ever did for Carolina, was in Detroit. And Rudy was there, and I had his room, and I said, "Well, I had his room.
Was it a nice room?
Oh my
Beautiful
God.
room.
It was
That's
a
a
little
great-
dusty.
Yeah.
I had to clean up.
Jeez.
There was 20 people in there swabbing it down. I came in. I was like, "What's going on?" "Oh, don't worry about it, sir. Just lay down." "Okay." No, but anyway, so I said, "What do we do? What do we do?" And he said, "You got to call a team doctor." So I called Josh Bloom is his name, a great doctor of the Carolina Hurricanes, and said, "Josh, what's going on here?" And he goes, "You have symptoms?" I said, "No, I feel pretty good." "Well, go home and put yourself away in quarantine for 2 weeks because I can't get you tested. It's really politicized, and there's nothing we can do about this."
Yeah, the tests weren't around then.
It was
No.
he did not say gong show, but he said another type of show. Okay, and he said
You can
that's
say that word on this show if you want to.
okay. Well, it's a shit show.
Yeah.
That's what he said, and
go.
that's what's happening in the world right now. So I went home and stayed in my basement for 2 weeks and did a series of podcasts and interviews about being someone who was exposed to Rudy Gobert's hotel room, and got some notoriety for that. And then that was March, and then in June my contract was going to expire, and here comes this take it or leave it type situation that I had no choice. So my world changed. I went to the bubble for 72 days and worked for NBC, and then it was after that that was presented the 2 things. But I never thought, to get back to your question, that would happen. I expected to be, you don't take it for granted, but I've been there almost 25 years with that one team. I thought I'd do my national work and continue with the Hurricanes. I was very proud of what I did there, along with other people. But anyway, it changed, and I was offered, like I said, a couple of opportunities, and Todd Lewicki called me up and sold me on Seattle with Ron Francis, and it was the best thing I ever did.
The Lewicki's are something, eh?
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
something.
And they're great. They're great sports executives. They're forward thinkers. They're always ahead of where everybody else is, and that's why they've been able to get it done in so many different places. Tim and Todd Lewicki are very special. You know all about Tim in this town, right?
High energy guy.
So you worked a lot in American markets. You
Yes.
you do prime hockey,
Yeah.
Canadian. It's on Canadian television. You're going to a lot of Canadian games. You're here in Toronto.
Yeah.
It's different, right? Hockey's different up here.
Well, it's, you know what? What's different is it's the reason for just about everything. You know what I mean? It's that's how it is. Now, I've been in hockey for 40 years, and I am American. And when this happened, I was flattered, number one, and then I was also floored by a great deal of responsibility that would come attached, because now a Canadian package with an American play caller. Well, a lot of other Canadians surrounding the broadcast, but I wondered how it would be. Well, you know, I think I've been around long enough that people understand how I do games, and I think my call is a classic call. At least that's how I would describe it. And my influences as a young announcer came from a lot of Canadian hockey announcers like Dan Kelly and Danny Gallivan and people like that, Doc Emmerich in the United States. And that's where it ends, kind of, with those 3 individuals. And Bob Cole, but Bob Cole was more of a contemporary for me. He was already going and doing what he was doing when I was starting and continuing and getting to know him and being very shy around him and in awe of him and everything. But I was already a professional when Bob was still doing his great work. So it's that legacy that we're kind of picking up here, along with all the great Canadian broadcasters that we have today that are doing network games and local games here in Canada. So there's a burden there, and I respect it, and I love it, and I love hockey, and always have since I was 7, 8 years old, as far back as I can remember, and you know, that's why I'm thrilled to be part of this.
This is a two-parter, and it's not catch-all. I promise I put some thought into this.
He's going to try to recover.
Yeah,
Here
I'm
we
going
go.
to try to recover. Well, I thought it was a great answer, and it takes a great question, you know. So, no, but
You're really good.
I'm so good.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Forsey.
Yeah.
Can I call you Forsey?
You can call me.
That's
Forsey.
great, man.
Just for this show.
So, we were talking before this show that's going so
Tap.
well.
These two running
Come on.
Yeah, we were
Should I
talking
turn
before the show.
sideways?
Yeah, why not? We were talking about the flight schedule and every town that you're in, and I think what was it, 9 games in 11
Yeah,
days?
that's what you said before the interview.
It
Yeah.
was so good. How do you? Well, first of all, walk us through the schedule because I couldn't believe it. And then after that, I have a follow-up question.
Okay, so just this pocket in time is a game in Seattle on Sunday night against who'd they play last night? Winnipeg.
There you go.
I know. Winnipeg, and then an overnight flight to Chicago.
Yeah.
And a Chicago jump to Toronto for the game here on Monday night. And then tomorrow morning I'll be back to Chicago for the Kraken, and then we'll continue on. And it's some of these weeks have been 7 and 9 and 8 and 11 and things like that. Yeah.
Wow.
But it's always first flight out in the morning. Don't fool around with anything else.
Yep.
That's when they start changing the pieces on the poker table, and it gets a little sketchy. So even if you want to sleep in for another hour or two, I go early. I try to get as much work done on the airplane as possible. That's hard.
Yep.
But I have a set routine that I do for every game, which consists of about maybe 4.5 hours of prep work. I got to figure that out. When does that come? It would probably be a hell of a lot easier if you could just travel and sleep and show up and do the game.
Yep.
But as you guys know, you got to put some preparation into it. And so that's what takes time. And you got to not get frustrated, figure out ways to do it. I've learned this over the years on how to do that on consecutive games. And then realize that, when the game starts, take a deep breath. Don't try too hard, because your brain will, when you're tired, will play tricks on you. So there's a method behind that too.
So the second part of that is your voice is incredible.
Thank you.
I feel like I'm talking to the television right now, and in many ways I am. We do the podcast. We do 4 podcasts a week. I do a video after every Leafs game. I've started to do more streams. I do not have the vocal workload that you have,
Yeah.
but over the past couple of years, I've been losing my voice a lot.
Yeah.
How do you keep your voice healthy?
Well, you regulate it, and when I was younger, I would lose my voice.
Yep.
There was a long road trip in Hartford in 1995, 16 days. You know Darryl Ray, Razor?
Yep.
Dallas
Yep.
Stars. Well, he's a great friend of mine, and we were a duo for the first time, full-time together with Sports Channel New England, covering the Whalers back in those days. And we were younger, and we had a lot of fun.
Yep.
Okay?
Sure.
And so when you have a lot of fun, you kind of burn it at both ends, and this is a hard job to do, although we pulled it off somehow when you have a lot of fun. But there was a game in Vancouver, and Andrei Nikolitin is a Russian player, and he scored an overtime winning goal for this unbelievably almost undefeated 6 or 7 game road trip the Whale was on. And my voice cracked on the overtime goal. To the point where SportsCenter down south, ESPN, picked it up.
Oh no.
As a blooper.
As a blooper. And they said, here's a call, and here's Peter Brady of the Brady Bunch. Remember that show?
Oh,
Do you guys
yes.
remember
Yeah,
that
yeah,
show?
yes,
Probably
yeah.
too young
Yeah.
for,
No,
for
other-
that.
yeah. No.
Yeah. Well, anyway, his voice cracked in a couple episodes when he's going through puberty, as I was. And so anyway, yeah, so that was embarrassing. So over time, you get older and you have to change a little bit. But I've recognized a couple things. Water is key.
Yep.
A ton of it. Caffeine is a killer, but you gotta. I have to have coffee. I probably drink too much in season black coffee. That constricts your vocal cords, but the water will loosen it up. And so I drink a ton of water and stay hydrated. The planes will suck all of that out of you. I'm a little dry around the lips tonight, from long travel overnight. You get these warning signs. It's time to pound the water. And then you just you learn how to control your voice, and you learn that during the day, doing long podcasts with people is probably not a good thing.
Okay, well, listen.
Right, Jazz?
Are we supposed to take a hint? Are we supposed to take a hint there?
No, you and I can go out in the hallway.
Oh, yeah.
That was great.
I thought that was
Yeah,
great.
no. But anyway, but that's it, but you learn over time. You learn how to manage it. Okay. But it's natural, and the worst thing we hate in our business is when people say, "Gee, this didn't sound a little hoarse last night."
Oh, yeah.
Right? Don't you hate that?
Yes.
Or are you sick?
Yeah.
Here, how's that? But we all get sick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you get congested, and then when you do this, you get self-conscious, and it plays tricks on you.
Now, one of the things you told us when Steve and I met you in the green room a couple weeks ago, there's two things I want to hit on. The first thing, and we had seen this because the lovely people at Amazon PR had brought us through. And,
Oh, yeah.
And what I'm pointing to
There it is.
are your notes. Now,
Yeah.
Maddie's getting them on camera, so I'm not going to touch them because I don't want to mess with them.
Okay,
but,
good.
But I want to. You start this process at 5:30 in the morning. you said?
I try to start the shell the day before.
Okay.
Okay, so the day before is like information that carry over because everything's to date. So you can't do everything the day before,
Right.
because the numbers are not real until the next day.
Yeah.
So rankings and if the team played the night before, whatever. So as far as the stats are concerned, that's what you have to keep in mind. But anyway, the day before I will start, and then the day of I will complete that mess over there.
And what struck me about it when we saw it before we met you was it's completely illegible to us.
Right. So it's really my shorthand.
It is your short. It's
Yeah.
like looking at a doctor's notepad.
Yeah.
So what types of you
Well,
developed
Adam,
this all on your own?
I did. So that's the same thing I developed. No one told me or taught me how to do this. I didn't go to school for it, and I just started doing it as a hobby when I was a little boy. And I broadcast every single Boston Bruins game with my dad from, say, age 8 till about 16, where I kind of thought, okay, we better stop this because we're going into high school, or we're in high school, and this is a little bit different. But as a little boy, his buddies would come over. The Bruins were great in the 70s with Bobby Orr and Esposito and all that crew, and they could have won the cup every year, but didn't. They probably had too much fun too. But I started doing something similar to that because I took it seriously, and I taped all the games on an old cassette recorder. Unfortunately, I lost all those tapes. My dad was my color guy. He did color. The guys would come over. We lived 90 miles west of Boston. We had an old parabolic antenna that situated on top of the house, and we had a booster that he got at like a Sears and Roebuck, and he attached it to it. We got the signal. So TV 38 did all the games when they were winning cups in the early 70s, and I would prepare for the games, memorize the players. I can give you rosters. I can give you this 1975 Philadelphia Flyers by number right now.
Wow.
Number 3, Tom Bladen. Number 4, Barry Ashby. Number 5, Larry Goodenough. Number 6, Moose DuPont. Number 7, Bill Barber. Number 8, Dave Schultz. Number 9, Mad Dog Kelly, Bob Kelly.
Wow.
Okay.
That's-
Number 10, Bill Clement.
So do
Don
those
Zaleski,
things
number
never
11.
Bill Clement, who, by the way,
leave you?
became a broadcaster.
Yeah.
later,
Do
too.
those things never leave you, or are you like a computer where eventually you fill
No,
up
I
with
think
enough
I was.
memory?
God gave me a gift to talk, obviously, communicate, but most importantly, I have a memory. If I write stuff down, pretty much photographic, I can, and that's what it is. So by writing that chicken scratch, I remember a lot of it verbatim, but I got pretty much a handle, and I've realized over time that 5%, 3% of that's going on the air tonight. The rest of it's trash.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I had to get 80% of that.
Yeah.
And that's a big mistake a lot of young broadcasters make. Right. I'm going to let you people at home know how much I know instead of the other way around.
Yes.
The game's first.
And that preparation means that 3% is worth it, right? Whatever that makes it to the air,
because
right?
it's really poignant.
Right.
Because it's really something that means something at that time. And you can, when the game's over, you can say, that's going to register with the fans.
Yep.
Because they're not going to remember he has points in 10 of his last 13 and 17 points in that time period. They're not going to remember all of that.
No.
Just like the graphics. They're going to see the graphic goes away. Remember goals, saves, fights, funny things that happen on the broadcast, excitement. That's what resonates, right? That's what you guys do. You bring life to the game, talking about it. I mean this sincerely. That's why we're going where we're going, because it's important. It really is.
One thing that I know that I wanted to hit on, because you told us an unbelievable story. You know, we were talking again in the green room. We did all the pre-interview prep 2 weeks ago. But I said to you, like, what was the AHL like in the 1980s? Because I remember talking to Stevie Thomas about that. We did a charity tournament with him, and he was like, I would try so hard when I was with the Leafs trying to break in, because if they sent me down to the AHL, all the big mean guys would target me, right? Because I was the hot prospect.
Yep.
And you told an unbelievable story about a 25-minute fight.
Yeah.
And it featured 4 future NHL coaches.
4 future NHL coaches. And all I'll say about this is that the 9 seconds that everybody loved of the 4 nations happened virtually every game. So that's basically, like, this was going on, and my phone was blowing up, and what is happening? And I'm like, well, this used to happen all the time.
You've seen a
Can you
million
believe
of
it?
these.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And coaches used to say, we need a line brawl. You know, we've lost 5 in a row. We need a line brawl tonight, right? And it was a way to bring the team together. It was absolutely barbaric. But anyway, so this happened in 1987. Springfield Indians, Fredericton Express, Quebec minor league team, and the Indians were the New York Islanders affiliate. Gord Lane, legendary 4-time Stanley Cup winner with the Islander, defenseman, tough guy, coaching Springfield. A guy named Ron LaPointe coaching Fredericton. They end up in the runway between the 2 benches in a fight for some reason.
So it's off the ice, the fight starts.
Off the ice with the police and the stick boy. We called him the Fridge. The stick boy, Carl was his name. And the poor kid was he was about 5 feet tall and about 8 feet wide.
Okay.
Like, he was a big boy. He was big.
We can relate.
But he was wedged between the 2 benches, and his face, because it's all on video, with pretty good resolution in terms of cable back then. Anyway, and the teams are coming together. Mick Vakota started this fight, and he too was a legendary tough guy. And anyway, it went from the benches onto the ice, and it went on for in excess of 25 minutes. Mark Crawford, Bruce Boudreau, Todd McClellan, Claude Julien were all players in the game. They were all fighting. They weren't the main combatants, but they were close. Ron Tugnut fought a kid named Marty Wakeland, 2 goalies. It's one of the best goalie fights you're ever going to see. But the key part of this, and this is gruesome, but you guys, you'll like this, and everybody watching this,
We like the gruesome.
will like this.
It happened.
There was a guy named Jacques Mayotte that played for Fredericton, and a kid named Dale Henry. His nickname was the Colonel from Saskatchewan. He was for the Islanders. Anyway, they squared off at center ice, and they're in a tussle, and it's a long bout. And Colonel Henry, Dale Henry, grabs Mayotte by the sweater and launches his head and headbutts him and splits him open. He goes, face plants. He face plants. He's down. He tries to get up. He's wobbling around, down again. He goes to the room. We didn't have concussion spotters back in those days.
Assume not.
So he goes, we used to put dizzy spells in the game notes when a player was not playing. Yeah, what do you think that was? Right?
Jeez.
That's true.
Dizzy spells.
Dizzy spells. It'd be like, shoulder, back, dizzy spells. Yeah, that's true. But
Things have changed a little.
thank goodness, right? Yeah. So anyway, Mayotte leaves the ice. The head split open, goes to the room, and minutes later, with a headband or bandage wrapped around his head, he comes back and joins the fight again. And he looked like an image from the Spirit of '76 or something. Like I mean, like he went to war, and here he is with a bandage, around his head, and it's available on YouTube.
Okay.
And you just Google it, and there it is, and you'll hear a young me, and I hadn't gone through puberty yet.
John, your stories are unbelievable. Thank you in your busy schedule for making time for us.
This was
we
a
really
pleasure.
Do mean a lot. It means
Love
a lot
you
to us.
guys. Thank you.
We
Keep
do.
up the
Really
great
appreciate
work.
that.
Okay.
Make
Thank
one
you.
quick request.
Yeah.
Can you tell us it's on Prime Monday Night Hockey just into the camera? Would that be okay?
Remember, it's on Monday. It's on Prime. It's only on Prime.
That's awesome.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.